Hello, hello. Hey, Kevin. Happy Monday. It is time to look at tenants. Let's copy paste everything from before and update the date. So it is the end of July. Looking back, I did not get done with everything I wanted to do in July. I wanted to get done with the treasure chest stuff, and actually, I don't know what I really thought of with challenge mode. I don't know if I wanted to get it done or just design it. We're not super far off track though. Anyway, sustainability, I think this is going fine. I'm doing a decent amount of work, but not much after hours or on weekends, which I think is only the case because of all of the social obligations we have IRL. Bricklaying, uh yeah, I think the way that I'm going through these tasks is such that we're always tackling the most important thing. I even split up my tasks into a nice to-do list to try to make this easier and not wasting the opportunity. Um, I'm trying to get, I'm trying to balance my my life such that I can spend a little more time on this. Short of that, I think I'm putting in solid work. Okay, yeah, that's it. I don't think there's anything super important there. No like major flaws in how I'm approaching things. So I reached out to YouTubers. Someone made a video yesterday, and actually this was like the fastest turnaround time. He made the video and he was like, "Oh, a developer reached out to me like 4 seconds ago." I don't think it was exactly that he just immediately went, clicked the link, and went and made a video, but it was probably a very short amount of time because, yeah, the video was uploaded pretty soon after the email, given the video's length. So now I have it in chat there. If people ever want to check it out, hopefully someone checks it out as we type the today command. The way I look at it is if I don't have a marketing budget, I don't really have much to offer someone who's going to make a video like this. Sure, there's the game and the value proposition of the game, but there are lots of games. And it's nice to at least give back in terms of views or comments or likes or something. And you never know. I also, my marketing goals for this last week, I actually could not get done easily because it was reach out to 3 new people. So that map person is one of the new people. And then it was re-engage, I think it was like 20 old people. The problem is I have like an old email setup and a new email setup. And the new one, I like fixed the spam score. Let's just put it that way. So imagine you type an email to someone like, "Hi, person, blah, blah, blah. Thanks. You sign your name." If they don't respond to you, what you would typically do is you'd reply to that email, and then beneath it you'd be like, "Hey, not sure if you saw," and reminder of blah. Um, those emails were in the old setup, so I can't reply to them. At least I don't think so. And maybe I could like retype it, but then they'll have 2 emails in their inbox. So anyway, I only re-engaged 9 people, 9 people with the new setup. And even then, I only re-engaged the people who had made videos since my last email. So it's been 12 days. If someone hadn't made a video in the last 2 weeks, I wasn't going to be like, "Oh, hey, I see that you're active on YouTube and you just haven't read my email." It's like, I'll just wait a bit longer, I guess. Anyway, the interesting thing out of all of this, the whole reason I'm sharing this is that out of those 9 people, 3 already responded. So the hit rate of re-engaging so far, and this is a small sample size, is 33%. When I first reached out to people, my hit rate was, it's hard for me to tell exactly, but probably like 10%. And then this would raise it a little bit more. So yeah, I think the re-engaging part is very important. Also, if I already did research for somebody and I was like, "Oh, hey, I saw this video or this video, or it seems like you like this thing," writing a follow-up email is pretty simple because I can just be like, "Oh, hey, I see you're still playing those kinds of games," or something. So yeah, marketing goals for this week, I got to figure out. Hey, Karada, another video? Yeah, another video. I'm feeling good about that. Marketing goals for this week. So I think we should follow up with everyone we can from before. There has to be some way I could form an email like, hey, sorry, my emails were lost, so I can't reply to the original, but dot dot dot, something like that. Hey, Manic Mind, hey, Smack. Good day, good day. So I think this is number one, and I think number two should be reach out to 3 new people again. And then for the next week, we are going to run out of old people to email. And then what I'll do is I'll try to have like a rolling amount of people that are new and a rolling amount of people that are old. Yeah. Okay. So these are the marketing goals for this week. Where is that? Yeah, here. Week 6. I guess I'll just write this here. Okay. Try different subjects. Put this here. Cool. What is that? Okay, that's fine. All right, then I thought of this as I was like sleeping the other night. People had proposed a day-night cycle for Skeleseller, and I was like, I just don't think it makes sense. But in the roguelike mode, it might make sense. So let's say our target playtime is 45 minutes, maybe more like 40 minutes, and there's a little bit of leeway. So you could have like 4 day-night cycles in that time, 10 minutes each. And then you could also have certain things happen, like in the day there are more customers, at night there are, I don't know, more enemies, and there's something to balance there. You could also then make perks that are specific to day or night. So I think this is a good idea. I'm just going to write it down. Do we have an ideas section still? Yeah. Where'd that go? Here it is. This didn't make sense in the base game, but having like 4 to 8 day/night cycles in challenge mode could be interesting. Yeah, something like that. Okay, and then this, allow item stacking on a per display basis. I think this is really important. Do we have item stacking listed out here? Stack. No. No, we should. Shops, items, etc. Yeah, I think item stacking should be split per display. We would probably need to render stackable displays differently somehow. And maybe even for different quantities. By doing this, we can upgrade a shop beyond the maximum. Actually, maybe this works just by... Maybe this works the same way that adding 2 displays to a shop would work. We just say that we add item stacking to 2 more displays. So you can always... I don't know how I want to write this. Hey, Phil. So you can always see at a glance how many items you could fit. By having more displays, you can have more unique items. Anyway, something like that. All right, great. So now all we're down to is the actual to-do list, which means we can get started on it. So I don't remember where we left off. The work I did over the weekend was just marketing work. So I did not do any coding. So let's load up the game and see. I have a lot of tension in my back right now, which I'm very concerned about because this is usually like the precursor to muscle spasms. And I think I know what caused it. Abby has been sleeping like right next to me on the bed. Normally she would stay there for like 10 minutes and then go to her own little cat bed. And now she is just cuddled up against me. And I do not do well with that. I can't be comfortable. I feel like my arm was tense all night. Okay, so we have the buy perk things popped up a UI. We could choose one of these. And then I think that was pretty much it. Oh yeah, it would stop showing. Yeah, so we have this. You have no choices. Okay, so when showing the UI, we need to generate which three show, keeping in mind their conditions. Easiest to just make a functional class that does this. Farm perks only show when you have the farm. Um, yeah, I mean that's all in the generator. Town is input. Most of these are these. Some perks like adding shop slots and warehouse storage are not backed by perks yet. And some perks will have conditions for whether they can show. So the conditions for perks, I guess that's kind of what we're talking about here. Conditions for perks. E.g., the farm perks need you to have the farm. So really simple conditions for a lot of these things. In fact, maybe most of them are based on just having a building, but probably some are based on having other perks. Some perks may be based on having other perks already. So either way, we take in the town and we can get any of that stuff that we need. And we need some way of knowing whether or not a perk is possible. So ideally, we have something sort of like this. A public static bool has met conditions for perk. And we take in I guess, an ability ID. This is like the perk ID, essentially. This means all perks need to be unified as ability IDs, which I think is probably reasonable. So this will work, but one of the weird things about this is that all the definitions of these are going to be inside this one function. So what I'd like to do is put them in player ability somehow. I mean, I guess we could just have a public virtual bool. Public virtual bool has met conditions as perk, or has met perk conditions. And we take in the town, and I guess the abilities component. This is, I guess, abstract bool. In fact, I'm not sure why these weren't marked abstract. Cannot declare a body because it's marked abstract. Sure, I don't care. Oh, this is going to break because now everything has to override it. If I'm not mistaken. Yes, 33 errors. Okay, so then let's make this virtual. And let's, by default, have it return false. So when what did I type for C? C, there we go. When a player ability represents a perk, this function represents a perk that can be given out in challenge mode. This function should return true if, yeah, the player has met conditions for that perk. Mac, thanks for the resub. Happy 2/3 of a year. By the way, I feel like I just sort of went straight into work mode, which I tend to do. But I hope everyone had a good weekend. I've still just had this on my mind for a while. Like Saturday, I was able to just relax most of the day. Then we had some social plans in the evening. And yesterday I did some like IRL chores and errands and a little bit of Skeleseller marketing. So all in all, it wasn't like a super hectic weekend in terms of any sort of productive thing. And this coming weekend, we have a couple of sets of social plans. And then I think things might die down a bit after that. And I'm hoping to get some breathing room to spend a bit more time on coding. I think just so much of the success of the game probably hangs in the balance of how challenge mode goes. So I hope all of you have been doing well, that your projects are going well, that your work is going well, that your lives are going well. And thanks for being here. All right, so I'll say like, e.g., you shouldn't get a farming perk without having the farm. We could codify these. It could be just like a has farm boolean. What happened here? Why is this not working? Oh, weird. Taking all the time off. To some extent, like I recognize that I probably need those sorts of things in order to be able to focus on Skeleseller. But at the same time, I have a lot of potential small tasks that I can do that don't require a lot of brain power, like cleaning up this to-do list, filing issues, reaching out to people via email. I guess all that sometimes takes just different parts of my brain. All right, so hazmat per conditions is here. Let's go figure out. I guess all of these are going to be that the level of the ability is less than the max level of this thing. Hey, Omni Digital Tech. Welcome back. It's been 4 months since you were last here, in case you're curious. I just happen to click your name and see. So yeah, we want to make sure that it's less than the maximum level. Although that's something that I guess this thing can do for us. We could just figure out what the potential choices would have been. In fact, maybe that's what I should do. Hey, Tiago. I'm stuck in some troubles balancing my own life stuff versus personal projects. Yeah. Yeah, it can be tough because, like I said, if you just somehow freed up your whole schedule and you're like, "Oh, I'll work for 168 hours per week on my project," it's like that will never work. You'll never be able to do that. You need sleep at the very least, but you also need some amount of probably relaxation, talking to other people, going outside, exercising, whatever else, just following up on real life stuff that needs to happen. And how much of that is needed to offset the work. So, like, let's say your only hobby is playing video games. How much should you be playing? How much should you be working? Like, what's the optimal balance? And I'm not actually suggesting people should try to answer that question. It's more like, hey, try things out. Hey, I played video games too much this week, and then the next week it's like, oh, I didn't get enough relaxation, and you try to tune that balance a little bit. Hey, Pressel, hey, Checkinator. Happy Monday. All right, so we make a hash set of ability ID, and we say like available perks, and then just set this to these three. And then we go through and prune them down to ones that you've met the conditions for. So available and then maybe like eligible. And we go through available perks dot select. Oh, we need link for that. Okay. Player abilities, get this, where, whatever. I don't need any of that. I don't know why I even did that. All right, so where ability, this is going to be an ability ID. So we need to fetch the ability. How do we do that? I think the abilities component has a way for us to do that. Okay, so then let's do this. Player ability equals. Let's do. There's get or default. Yeah, this. And then return that it's met the conditions. And what's the problem with this? Cannot implicitly convert a base ability to a player ability. Well, we know where they're going to be player abilities in this case. All right. And then we don't need to do that. And there we go. Is there a thing like playing too much video games? There's a thing when it comes to foregoing other activities. Well, otherwise, I think it's all up to every individual person, right? Like, I remember a long time ago when video games were becoming more mainstream, more popular, that a family member of mine expressed concern at the amount of video game playing I was doing. And what's sort of interesting now is that was, I don't know how many years ago, a long time ago though. But now a lot of people are just on their phones or devices for pretty much as long as I was playing video games for back then. And it's just a matter of appeal. Like, had it appealed to those people back then to play the video games that were out, they probably would have also spent that many hours. And it just took making it accessible via phones. You hear about the Tea Party data breach? I have not heard about this, no. I got to look into what's going on with that stuff. The UK apparently implemented some law. UK, what, age verification law? I wanted to look at what does it take to be compliant with this law? Not that it's ever going to impact me, probably, because I don't live in the UK and I don't plan on doing anything that requires age verification. What you need to know as a user. How do you abide by this? I can't find a quick way of looking it up. Because one of the things I was thinking about is it's like cookie policies. except for cookie policies can all happen without any external validation because cookie policies are all just about consent, whereas age verification is about proof. Yeah. Got the corn with 42 keys, sold my glove 80. Nice, 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 nice. Yeah, I hope you like it. I think 42 keys, the weird thing to me is having your pinky finger control 2 columns. I guess you don't ever have to use them if you don't want to. But to me, I don't know if I would use them. Maybe I would for like extra layers and stuff. But anyway, I hope you like it. I think it's a good thing to check out. All right, so these are the eligible ones. We only want to add choices based on, like, we want to just have 3 eligible choices. And I don't think we have, so I guess this needs to be a list. And if we were already going to convert it to something, might as well just convert it to a list. So now the choices that we have, we're going to sample up to 3 of these. There might not be 3. Cannot convert from read-only list to list. Sample returns a read-only list. Okay, fine. Use my nose for those calls. Well, on a regular keyboard, your pinky is going like all over the place. If you kind of think about regular keyboard, regular computer keyboard, if you think about it in terms, and this is not how people use their keyboards, right? But something like this, your pinky should handle what, semicolon, like this column all the way to the right of the keyboard. Now, you wouldn't move your pinky over to press like page up or page down probably. But still, like all of these keys, you kind of do need to hit with your pinky. And it's quite a stretch for a lot of them. I'm sure we're going to like the fewer keys. Yeah. I feel like everything that involves tech is about consent. No, what I was saying about validation is this is age verification. So it's not just like, do you approve of this as a user? It's like, did the government prove that you are of the appropriate age for this? So I guess you could argue in some sense that it's like consent from the government, but it's not just consent from the user, at least. App for girls to gossip about guys by their names and their red flags and just smack talking pretty much. All the people who registered had to do with a government ID. Weird. Some part of this might have popped up for me somewhere, but I didn't look into it. But the government ID bit seems very strange. I mean, I guess even if it didn't take a government ID, you could still have all of your data leaked. And depending on what data you provided, that might already be too much. But yeah, I think I think we're gonna see maybe more of a rise of privacy leakage due to AI coding. I'm not saying this is due to AI coding. I don't know anything about this, but it will probably start happening more. Hey Dan, what's your alt tab of this keyboard? My alt tab is in my nav layer. I have a button that is both alt and tab at once, basically, and I can just keep pressing it to get to other things here. Whoops. I also have something that lets me go between 2 applications of the same, or multiple windows of the same application, which is just command backtick, but it's also my nav layer. Yeah. Okay, so we sample these. This is an read-only list. This should now be valid. Why is this still a problem? Can I convert from ID to town perk choice? Town perk choice. What is a town perk choice? We added a new one that took in the ability component and the ability ID. Sample 3.select this. I guess to the point where this could just be a list. AC is up here. Yeah, sure. Okay, anything else? Choice 1. Oh, make sure it's less than the maximum level. Yeah, I forgot to do that. Is less than max level. That won't work, will it? Drat. How do we get the max level? Oh my god, is it just coded there? Oh, thank goodness. Okay. All right, I think we did it. Now we just delete all this stuff. Yeah. So this is done. Let's try it out. Do you have your keyboard mappings on GitHub? I sure do. There they are for you. Yeah, so some are going to be apparent just by looking at it, and some are going to be a little bit harder for you to figure out. Let me show you a little bit. So if you just scroll down to here, like KC probably stands for key code. So you can see that my main layer is like Q, W, F, P. So these are just letters. These are pretty easy. Even things like this, KC minus, like this is a minus sign, right? KC quote is a quotation mark. Those are easy enough too. The hard things here are these sorts of things. MO fun, LT nav space, MO num. So I'm happy to explain these if you want, but a lot of these are MO stands for momentary. So momentarily enter a layer while holding this key. So if I want to type in a function key like F5, I have to hold this key down and press F5. And then when I want to stop typing function keys, I let go of this key. So that's how that works. And then some of these other ones are like this one, for example, is if I press this key, it types out an O, but if I hold it down, I'm now in another layer. So it's a dual function key. And then other ones, you need to look down at the code down here to figure out what they should do. So there's a little bit of complexity to this. Uh-oh, what's the problem here? Challenge mode dot choices. This is not in choices. Which means I just broke something. Ugh. Yeah. All right, let's try it. I shall do some work. Will lurk. Okay, nice. Yeah. All of the work is so that you can have your oatmeal later. You have no choices. Okay, that means that I broke everything. Because I never overrode this. I guess there are no conditions for this. It's just, yeah, maybe we return true for this. Oh man, what should you set the default on something like this? I don't know. I guess true. Only if they have extra conditions should you put them there. And I should probably write about the max level being done somewhere else. That way not everything needs to code it. Alternatively, we could just put the condition of the max level thing in here. That would work. Yeah, nothing should violate the max level, but then if anything overrides this, we need to make sure to call into the base class. And I don't like doing that. The check for the check to make sure the ability is not a max level is done elsewhere. That way each ability doesn't need to remember to call into the base class for that. Have you ever used Rider? No, I haven't. I think Rider is pretty good though, from what I've heard. And in some cases, it's going to be better than VS Code. Like my biggest C# gripe with VS Code is that I need to restart the editor like 4 times per day. Actually, that's kind of a lower bound. This on its own is just so frustrating. It's like things will just stop working and there's no fixing it. I just have to reload the editor. And yeah, I really, really don't like that. But then the next biggest gripes are linting. Linting doesn't have auto fixers in VS Code. So let's say I have functions in the wrong order. Like it wants public functions before protected ones. So let's say I put this up here. It'll detect that it's wrong. I save, and then it should say, yeah, this. It says public should come before private or protected. So it's like, okay, now fix it for me, right? And you go to the quick fix thing, and it's just like there is no way to do that here. And I'm guessing Rider has a way to do that, or could just do it on save or something. So those are the biggest things that I find frustrating. Everything else is fine. I don't think there's any like features I feel like I'm missing or anything. I just don't like those two things. Basically, anything that causes me to lose time that could be avoidable. All right, did I get this working now? I don't remember if I restarted it. I might not have. I think I did. Okay, so I should be able to buy this 3 times, right? 1, 2. Oh, whoops, they're in different orders now. All right, okay, and then 3. And now it's gone. And I buy this, and now that's gone. And I buy this, and this is probably going to break when I get the maximum, or maybe not. No, it just says you have no choices. That won't be possible in the future though, so we don't have to worry about that yet. But yeah, this is looking pretty good. Cool. Let's check that in. We don't have any conditions yet. So add ability for conditions in perks. We now only show perks whose conditions have been met. There are only 3 perks surfaced so far, and none have special conditions yet. But this paves the way for having farm specific, yeah, I guess for future perks. Hey, Jay. Have you ever been tempted to use GPTs to code or analyze a code for brevity, convenience whatsoever? Have you tried using some of the latest ones? Thoughts on it thus far? So I use Copilot, and I use it as, the way I kind of say this is, it's smart autocomplete for me. So let's say I'm typing a line over here, and I was like, let's get a, let's say I didn't have this here. And I just typed something like, get a random perk to use. It's going to suggest something for me. Like, I didn't prompt it exactly. I just wrote a comment. This would have been for myself, maybe. I wrote a comment, and it's like, oh, okay, here's your code. So I use it for something like that. Yeah. But I don't tend to use it as an agent. I don't tend to chat with it. It might be good enough to do those sorts of things. I just don't really, I don't look into that too much. Super Maven plugin doesn't work. By far the fastest auto completion I've used. I think Rider has some built-in AI thing though, and maybe the Super Maven thing is fastest, but maybe the AI stuff is best in terms of saving you time overall. All depends on how you code. All right, so code the generation of perks. We have a way of generating them. I haven't done them all yet. So if we look at the perk generator, I just hard coded 3 of these things, right? We eventually need to make all the rest of them, but I don't think it's time for that yet. So I think we're going to mark this as done. This should all be in its own class. It is. Most perks are just player ability instances. That's fine. Need to handle edge cases like running out of perks. Maybe we just give time limit in that case. Yeah, so I don't know what we're going to do there, but we need to do that at some point. When there are no perks possible, we should have some... We should do what Vampire Survivors did and have like 2 evergreen options. Most players will never see this in Skeleseller. But it's important that we cover this edge case. Yeah. Yeah, so for those who don't know, I don't even remember what Vampire Survivors did for this, but Vampire Survivors had some, like, let's say you unlocked every single perk you could get. I think it would give you like plus gold or something else. Something else that you may want. I don't remember what the something else was. But anyway, the point was like, oh, maybe this will still help you, or oh, it was like plus money, and money would affect your future runs, I think. Anyway, whatever. So if you get golden HP, yeah, okay, so that's what it was. Yeah, an 8 broken crown. Yeah, so if you were about to die in your current run, you could get more health, or you could get more of the persistent income that would influence your future runs. But like none of those would make you more powerful in this run. And that's what the original perks were for. All right, so this we're just going to say we bump this for later. I'm just going to do that. Make sure we respect the max level. I only coded to work for that. Make sure buying a perk costs money. Yeah, I did not do this yet. Hey, Consolas. Just saw someone playing a game that reminded me of Skeleseller, RimWorld. Might be worth taking a look. I've heard of RimWorld. I haven't ever seen any gameplay of it. I'll write this down. Yeah, I don't know much about it. And I think it's kind of interesting trying to find games that are kind of truly similar to Skeleseller. There are a lot of games that are close. So if you consider it from a thematic perspective, if you just have something like doing battle and selling items, that's kind of the thematic way. If you look at it from a genre perspective, it's kind of like idle-ish games. or maybe incremental games. If you look at it from a gameplay perspective, though, I'm not sure what's very close to Skeleseller. Because people might say something like Moonlighter, but it's actually not. Moonlighter is a manually played game. So yeah, anyway, hard to know what's close to it. And I suggested something to someone recently that, oh, hey, this is close to another game. And they're like, actually, that game is way more idle than this one. So are they that similar? Okay, so buying a perk costs money. Where do you actually buy the perk? Well, there's a choose button somewhere, right? Here it is, choose button. So somewhere we have a press. This is the here. Oh, look at that. Can't press F12 anymore. It's VS Code needing to be reloaded. There's my first time for today in the first 36 minutes of coding. This is what I was saying I don't like about this. I don't know why this happens so often. Okay, so modify ability level. We also need to know the cost of this. I'm just going to hard code a cost into here, I guess. Oh, I can't do that, though. I guess this needs to go out to something else to figure out. We just invoke this, but there's nothing that listens for this. Okay. Well, something needs to know what this cost. The problem is the town menu is going to figure out what the cost is. Or maybe... I don't remember how this should work. Buy perks. Town perk choice generator. Isn't there some thing I added here? Perk choice tracker. This has a get cost, doesn't it? It doesn't, but it should have. I think we wrote it in. No, I didn't write it in there. I don't know where this is supposed to be. All right, so how do you figure out the cost? You just need to know how many things you've chosen so far, and you can figure out the next one. So this is what should have it. So let's make a public long get cost of next perk and just have this return 50 for now. Like this should eventually go up, but I'm not going to do that yet. It'll go dev. How's it going? How's your weekend? All right, so now that we know the cost, that should probably be on the buy button. Buy perks. It should be... Wait, what? It says buy perks on it? Okay, well, I don't know about that. But let's put the cost and then the money symbol. Money symbol. Okay, that looks good. Now the cost is going to be equal to that. And then whether or not the button's enabled is going to be equal to whether you have enough money for it, which I haven't done yet, which I guess we got to write down. Whoops. Make sure the button is enabled only if you have enough money. Going well. Glad to hear it. Yeah, things are going well here too. I'm so looking forward to having the first like vertical slice of this thing done. Which I think the first vertical slice is kind of everything I have listed here. It's being able to choose perks, being able to choose battle perks, being able to build buildings, etc. Like we need a little bit of everything there. And then we could sort of play the game. And we're making good progress so far. All right, so this is the cost. Now we need to subtract the cost over here. We have the perk choice tracker, so I guess this should be very easy, right? Town.modify money. Yeah, nice. And maybe we do this first. Yeah, that would probably work. And then we don't need this for now. I guess let's delete that. Yeah, I'm greatly looking forward to it. Also, I got some feedback from Ufta about the treasure system, and there was some good feedback there. Unfortunately, it represents more work that needs to be done. I don't like that part. Why is buy perk? Where is this button? What? I'm confused. Buy perk is there, but it's lowercase. So that must mean we're never calling this. Yeah, we're never calling this. Huh. Okay, let's look at that. Talked about note taking app. Gotta say, that got me to try it, and I'm kind of digging it. It's just such a weird experience. Anyway, I do like Obsidian. I made a video about it too, and I used to use OneNote before that, and I made a video about not liking OneNote. I think that it's been pretty nice. And if you are looking for something like what I use for notes.adamlearns.com, you can take a look at all those other commands that are there too, like syncthing and starlight and vercel. So I use Obsidian on my computer and on my phone. I think it's just those two. Yeah. And on my phone, I need to have syncthing. You don't need to do this. You could just pay for their sync plan. Their sync plan is like, I don't know, $5 per month or something. I don't, or maybe $10. Obsidian sync. $4 per month. Okay, that's not too bad. Yeah, if you want to do it without paying, just look at the sync thing command. So for that, I will say this, and this is in the video that I did, but the way that sync thing works is if two of your devices are online, they'll sync everything. So what happens if you have your computer and then you turn it off and then you turn on your phone? It has nothing to sync to now because your computer is off. So what I do is I have a mini PC that's just always on, and it's what's also hosting this, my command database, my chatbot. So it also has syncthing running on it. And by virtue of having syncthing running on this 24/7, it means that I can turn off my main computer. My phone will sync to my mini PC. Then my phone could be off. Not that it ever is. No one's phone is ever really off. And then my computer can sync to my mini PC as well. Yeah. Committing it to the game's repo. For game-specific notes, I think that could be good. I think generally keeping notes outside of a repo is a good idea, or at least outside of like a code repo, because you never know like what happens when you learn something for the future. Do I have any of these that are shared? Not really, I guess. But I keep track of like overall marketing learnings, for example. And one of the marketing learnings I just added was something like re-engage people, whatever. Anyway, this is something that I learned through Skeleseller, but that's going to be durable for longer than Skeleseller is around. I just use my phone as the master repo for my sync thing because it's always on. Yeah, actually, I guess I never really thought about that. I guess as long as your phone has an internet connection and it's always on, it could essentially form that connection point. I ended up using my mini PC for that. But yeah, I guess. Anyway, I was going to have the mini PC on 24/7 anyway. And the nice thing about the mini PC is it uses very little power. All right, what am I doing? I'm subtracting money. I think I subtracted money already. So let's go test it out. Let's see. All right, so I have enough money for this. Oh, right. It wasn't calling the update thing. Update by perk button. Here it is. Oh, yeah. It's just literally not being called. Look at that. All right. So what should do this? I guess every single time you get money, this should happen. Because we need to know. Where do we look at that? Money changed. All right, and then isn't there like an enabled or disabled thing based on when money changed? This is whether it's visible or not. Update quests. This is whether higher changes its modulate. Okay, well, we do want to change the modulate of this. Also, I guess update by perk button should only be done if the perk button actually exists. If not, buy or choose perks button not visible, just return. Yeah, it's either always visible or it's never visible, but it's not going to change. Take care, Kevin. Hope you have a good day. Using your index fingers to type everything. Buy or choose perks button. So the cost, let's get here. Well, I guess we can do this for this. If you have deferred perks, we would set this to green. Bool highlight green equals false. Modulate equals highlight green. Cool. So if you have deferred perks, we're going to highlight it green, although we haven't coded any of this anyway. And if you do this, highlighting green is going to be based on whether you have enough money. And the text only changes once you buy the thing, so we don't have to do that part. 2 to the 8 minus 1. Thanks for the resub, Endort. Have you been enjoying Raimu's streams? It's nice to see him back. Wait, am I wrong? It's 2 to the 6th minus 1. Yeah, I wasn't gonna say anything. That there's certain powers of 2 that I've memorized just to make it easier. Like 2 to the 10 is a really good one to memorize because 2 to the 10 times 2 to the 10 is roughly equal to a million, which is good to know. It helps, trust me. So 2 to the 5th is another one that I just have memorized. Although none of the low ones are hard to figure out. But yeah, 32. So yeah, 2 to the 6 minus 1. And then most people will know what a byte is if they're coding. 256. So 2 to the 8th. Yeah. All right, I think we've done this. I think we've done all of this. Oh no, I haven't called it yet. Oh my god, I still forgot. It's when money changes, so it should be done all automatically. Wouldn't 2 to the 20th be better to memorize then? 2 to the 20th would be decent to memorize, except for you can figure it out from 2 to the 10th. 2 to the 20th on its own doesn't help you very much. I feel like it comes up last. I'm prepared for next month. That you are for your 2 to the 9th minus 1 resub. Okay, what was I going to do? This it says 50 and it's highlighted. So let's spend our money on something else. Let's get this, and it should no longer be highlighted. Oh, this doesn't even work because it's already unlocked. But yeah, nice. All right, so now we shouldn't be able to buy this. And I think if we click choose, it's going to spend our money. Yeah, so all of that's wrong. It's as soon as you click the button, it needs to spend money. Because you are unlocking this perk choice for later. Well, I'm glad we realized that. So this should not be here. So where is when you click this, where is that happening? Press to generate choices. So this needs to be that you have enough money. If you don't have enough money, then we don't do this, I guess. Perk choice tracker. Yeah, let's set this to cost. And then if you don't have enough, then just return. You shouldn't have even been able to click the button. Bool is buying perk equals true. If is buying perk, I guess buy perk, otherwise show the deferred choices. Private void buy perk. Okay, how's that look? By the way, wish lists have been going up for Skeleseller, and I'm not totally sure how people are finding the game anymore. I think it might be just residual YouTube views from some of the big YouTubers who made stuff. But if I go into this here, July 22nd, we had about 7,800 wish lists. It's not a lot higher than that now. It went up by 300. Yeah, now we're 80, 90 on today. It's been 6 days. So we've been getting like 50 per day. That's pretty good. Hey, Sophomire. Wish listed from here. That's very nice of you. Yeah, I think some people wish list from here, but that's probably roughly like 5 to 10 per day. So the other 40 to 45 per day is kind of a mystery to me. It could be some through Steam, it could be some through YouTube, but that's probably it because there really isn't any other coverage of the game anywhere. Like if you search Skeleseller on Google and you search for like last week, you're going to find a lot of my videos. You're going to find almost nothing. What? Why? I guess because of this. But it's finding like weird stuff here. Huh, that's strange. Oh, I said, I thought I clicked past week. I did not. I was like, it should find my videos. Yeah, there are my videos. Yeah, so it's a lot of that. And then that's about it. In microdosing, I am having a great day so far. It's been pretty good. Hope your day is going well too. We're getting this buy perks button to work. So it says buy perks 50 gold. I click this, it spends the money immediately. And now it's no longer highlighted white. And now clicking this should do nothing. Except for we have an option, so I guess I need to pick this. And now clicking it should do nothing. Yeah, it should probably be disabled. This is the only button out of all of these that is a purchase button. Hire adventure might sound like one, but it actually pops up a dialogue, and then this forms the purchase button over here. So maybe we need to gray that out. There's no concept of graying out any of these other ones, though. I don't know what I want to do for that. Yeah, I need to think about that. I'll just write that in cleanup for now. Figure out whether we want to disable the buy perks 50 gold button in the town menu if you don't have enough money. Clicking it will do nothing. No other button in that menu up until challenge mode could be disabled. Nor could one trigger a purchase directly. I think disabling makes sense. Yeah. Why not have a dialogue for buy perks? Tell the user what they are in the dialogue, and they have to explicitly click the buy button. Yeah, I think that could work. We have this here, choose perks. Right now it says you have no choices, but yeah, we could put a buy button here. Could it be like hire an adventure and bring up another one? Yeah, it could be. It could be. And maybe that's the thing we want to do. It may be better to have the town menu button bring up the, like, what's it? It's not centralized. What am I trying to say? Bring up the, I don't know. Yeah, I'll just say bring up the dialogue for choosing / buying perks. Yeah, I think that's more reasonable. For now, I don't care. Phase 1 is just about how do we get this to be playable. And if this button does nothing and people are like, oh, I don't have the money, that's fine for now. But yeah, I agree. I think that should probably change. So yeah, assuming you do have the money, then this highlights green and you can click it. It'll spend the money and then give you a perk choice. So this is close to how it's going to work in the game. One of the ways it's going to be a little bit different is because right now it's 50 gold no matter what. This is going to increase in cost as you buy it. And I don't know how much it's going to increase by, but just imagine it going something like this. So that after you've bought a few of these, you've spent an extra 20, 25 gold. And then after you bought a bunch of them, now the base cost might be 100. So that's going to have to rise somehow. I'm still not sure how we're going to balance that, but that's a problem for future me. So for now, we've gotten done with this. Make sure buying a perk costs money. Make sure the button is enabled only if you have enough money. That's highlighted green if you have enough money. That's good enough for now. So why is this yellow? Use properties. Sure. Cool. All right, so highlight green is there. That's good. This is, yeah, we need to defer perks. Actually, it's kind of already implemented. And I guess we should write a specific to-do or I'm never going to find this. Implement this. Yeah. Maybe just always spawn the dialogue and put the buy button in the dialogue. That's making more and more sense. My sub months finally match how old I feel. 60 months? You feel 5 years old? Regardless, thank you for subbing. And happy 5 years. It's quite the momentous anniversary. Kind of crazy to think that people can be at 5 years. And yet there's no, I think there's no 5-year contiguous period anyone could have been subbed for. Because I turned off subs at one point. And I think it was before the 5-year mark. So it means that people had to have spanned like 7 years or 8 years. I still felt weird about taking people's money and not actually streaming, which is why I turned it off. I didn't want people to even have the option. The other thing too that I felt bad about is like if there was a way of saying you can just take in Twitch Prime subs, I would have left that on because that's not your money. That's Amazon's money. But there was no way to do that. And I felt bad about back then the price was $5. I felt bad about that turning into $2.50 and then turning into even less for after taxes. So it's like you would spend $5 to give me whatever $2. That just didn't seem like a good deal, you know? You're giving Amazon an extra $3 to do kind of nothing. So yeah, I turned it off. But then Twitch turned it back on. They're like, you're not leaving this off. They turned it back on right before I was going to start streaming. So it wasn't really a big deal. All right, this is technically different here. So we'll say remove unused event and then handle cost of perks correctly. We subtract money when we should, and highlight the buy perks button green when you have enough money. Cool, cool, cool. Oh, thank you too, Jay. Thanks for the money. Your Prime Gaming sub. They don't even call it Twitch Prime anymore. Doesn't get a third mega yacht. Pretty sick. I know. I know. I think we should all chip in to Jeff Bezos's. Actually, how many yachts do you think he has? Actually, how many yachts does a mega rich person even need? Wouldn't you just need one? And wouldn't it always just be wherever you need it to be? Like, don't you have a crew that can just bring it to where you are in the world? I guess maybe if you were constantly traveling via flight and then wanted your yacht to be where you are and it couldn't make it there in time, you might need two. Huh. I never thought about that. Man, that's kind of wild, right? Like, isn't there some service for mega rich people called like net jets or something? Oh, I guess the mega rich people own their own jets, but the tier below that, the people who can afford private travel, private flights, I think there's some like jet share service. I wonder if there's a yacht share service. I guess if you're at that level of wealth, you probably don't want to share a yacht. I also don't really get the appeal of a yacht in the first place. I think Gabe Newell like lives on a boat now, doesn't he? I don't know. All right, stop duplicating the title and the perk UI. I probably just clean it up in general. Yeah, let's take a look at this. So I shouldn't tell you about my yacht. What is the smallest or cheapest boat to be considered a yacht? What is the cheapest? Because I don't think it means mega wealthy thing. Yeah. There's this is, it's not like this is, pocket money, 15,000, but this is not crazy. So you can get something that's technically a yacht for 15, $16,000, but it just looks like a boat, right? When people think of the mega rich ones, they're thinking of like a floating hotel. It has a sleeping space. Okay, yeah, I see. And yeah, that's not hard to achieve. Freshwater one and a saltwater one. Freshwater yacht. I just put it on the lake outside my place. It can never move anywhere. M2, thanks for the sub. Sounds like you're planning on the game doing pretty well. No. This is just random pontificating. I don't know what level of wealth I would need to have before I'm like, you know what, a yacht is a good idea. Hopefully there is no level of wealth where that's the case. I subscribe to that aphorism of the two happiest days in a man's life are when you buy a boat and when you sell a boat. So I'm just gonna skip that and avoid both happiest days. All right, stop duplicating this. Let's go take a look. So yeah, we have customer speed written twice. I think because the title is part of the description. So if we go to worker speed in abilities, form skill table, this has a title, right? Description. What? Skill name, format skill name. I'm confused. What is this description? It's passed in through here. Which is this? Where does the title come in then? What? All right, hold on. Let's just search for dot title. I don't even see that. I don't know what I'm doing right now. It's the perk choice thing. Yeah, here it is. Title label, initialize. So if we cut one of these out, the other one should look fine. Yeah, here. So what if I just set this to high? Hey, noob. Can I choose your roguelike? Oh man, imagine that. You have 3 different games, and their first choice is which game you want to play. Learned it was a really nice 50K boat with the bedroom. Amount of money for Jeff Bezos to care about picking up from the street, like picking up a quarter, that'd be like $1,000. Anything less than that, it's not worth his time. Yeah, although, yeah, I've heard this before with Bill Gates. I wonder, what does it work out to be for the average person? Wouldn't it be like a penny in that case? You've had 3 boats? Wow. Okay, so yeah, I think we just get rid of this. We just don't put a title in there at all. I just still don't get where this is coming from. Where does that show up? Player ability has a title, which I guess comes from passive ability. Or I guess it's in ability data. Display name, here it is. Where's that used? This is practically impossible to find. Town perk choices. Get title, used to use it. It must be in base ability. Now the question is, where is base ability? Because these are not alphabetized. Display name. 2-string. Get ability name for tooltip. Okay, here it is. Where is that used? Player ability? Get tooltip? Oh, yep, there it is right there. Okay, well that explains that. So let's get rid of the title. Still pick up quarters. I can't remember the last time I've seen a quarter on the ground. I feel like in general, paper and coin money usage has gone down. Hey, Matt. 2 of them are sold to pay for an expensive vacation on an even bigger boat. How ironic. All right, yeah, so let's just delete that high that we have here. Delete this, delete this, delete that, and that, and that. And then perk choice in the scene itself. Doesn't need a title anymore. Yeah, that should work. Prep for a week vacay. Don't remove it from playtesters, please. Yeah, that's fine. Take your time. I think this is even in the document that I did, which is like test at your leisure. So the treasure chest system, I've gotten enough feedback on, even just from one person, to know that it was a step in the right direction and there's some work that needs to be done. So I think it's a good system. The challenge mode stuff, we're definitely need people on that as soon as I launch it. That I'm going to try to recruit people. In fact, I should probably write that down here. Release to playtesters, maybe recruit some more playtesters, since we probably need as many as possible for challenge mode. That should be interesting though. So ready for it? Yeah, I think it's gonna be pretty neat. Okay, so we click buy. Yeah, now the titles are not wonky. So there is some work that I want to do for this. I think the first thing we should do is make it so that all of these have the choose button at the same position. Or maybe you can click any part of this. That would be kind of nice. I guess having the choose button would also be good to have. So let's do a couple of those things. Let's write this down. So stop duplicating that. That's fine. So what we probably want to do is make the choose button show at the same height for all of these. Maybe allow you to click the whole perk to choose it rather than having to click the button. Although that might cause some mistakes. What if you accidentally click here and then you purchase this? Maybe we don't do that one yet. I'm not sure about this. Yeah, but this one's definitely, this is needed. So let's go start this up and close out of this. All right. So where is that? Choose perks panel tab. Here it is. And there is a choices thing. And within choices, there's a perk choice. Perk choice should be set to expand vertically, and then everything should be fine. No, that won't work. It'll take up the entire dialogue now, right? It doesn't look like that did anything. What did I do? Possibly nothing. Yeah, possibly nothing. I'm not sure what I need to do. Maybe just make the description expand? Oh, maybe that was it. Hey, Sean. I think a confirmation after choosing your perk would solve the accidental click. I don't want there to be a confirmation, though, given that this happens pretty frequently. Like, imagine it is a choice you make every minute. I think having a confirmation for that is too often. But you're right. It would address that. It would just probably also cause some frustration. Once it's worth reaching out to Godot to get featured as a Made with Godot showcase game. Yeah, that could potentially be worthwhile. I'll write that down as an idea. file this for later. Also, hey, Dark. What about a timed button press and hold? Again, I think it's something that you're going to do frequently enough where you want this to be fast. But let's see how that works once we're done with this. Okay, so now this looks pretty good. The choose buttons are all aligned. So yeah, I think this is nice. I think I want there to be a border between these maybe. Or maybe just some more space. It's pretty tight right now. So what is this thing? This is a VBox container. So I guess we want it to be a margin container with a VBox inside of it. So perk choice, we change type to a margin container and then add in a VBox container underneath and put that in those and then make this thing expand. No, you can't do that. That's set to expand. I don't know. Let's just see. What does that look like? Did I just botch everything? It might be fine. It's kind of impossible to tell until I do this. So I'll do this off screen. I'm just going to raise the margins. Does this look good? Yeah, nice. Okay, so if I set this to, let's say, 16 for all of these, that's what that looks like. I think putting a border around it would be nice. Yeah. I think so. Yeah, I think so. I think so. I think it's important. All right, so then we put all of this inside of a panel container. Change type to panel container. Add in a margin container. Put this thing in there. Put this thing such that it's... I don't know what the margin should be. Let's send it to 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, something. And then for the panel, we'll make a border. You can't do that. You can kind of sort of make it a border anyway by doing something like style box flat and just making this be a little bit of opacity and maybe a little bit of a color. Does that look terrible? It doesn't look like anything because I need to restart this. Yeah, so that's not good. And what happens when I change the margin on this again? Let's take a look. Okay, so we just set this to like 2020, 2020. It's not bad. I just have no graphic design skills. We can't change the... that's weird. I can't change the style box on these things on the fly. What happens if oh, yes, I can. I just need to go back to the editor. Okay, let's go back to that. All right, I did not want to make it pink. I just wanted to make it more subtle. So maybe like that. Yeah, so that's not too bad. Out of curiosity, what would this look like in a different color completely? Ugly. But what I want is, let's say we just made this completely opaque. I want this to have just a border around it. Oh, there's border stuff here. I didn't even see this. Oh, well, then let's just do that. So let's set this to 2222. Get rid of the background color or make it incredibly, incredibly subtle. Maybe something like this. And then set the border color. I'll just make it bright red for now so it stands out. We're going to change that in a little bit. Set the corner radius to be like 10, 10, 10, 10. And yeah, that's pretty nice. Okay, so now let's make the border something a little bit more fitting with the dialogue. I don't know about blue. Maybe something more along gray, so we just saturate this differently. All right, yeah, that's not bad, right? But I think we want more space between these things now. And that's not something that the margin container can do. That's something that we need a margin outside of the panel to do. Yeah, because that's what we're going to do when we do this. Okay. Can you do it raised like the money bar? Oh, that's a good idea. How did we do that? Yeah, so I want something sort of like this. Where's the money bar? Panel top bar. This has a... This is modified by a theme, but what even is this thing? Oh, it itself is a panel? But... Huh. Yeah, I guess it's just modified by the theme that we have. Well, what theme do we use for this? Panels tab container. Does this have a theme? Where's the theme modified? Theme tab container. There it is. It is set to stone panel theme. So if I load this up, we should be able to see what a panel looks like here. Here. It has a panel set, and it's this thing that's used. That's the raised bit. Hey, Mousy. Hope it's helpful, even though it's not much. Yeah, cool. Thank you. I will take a look later. I got some good feedback already, and we're going to need to iterate on it at some point. Okay, this is definitely a good thing to do. So let's try this out. So we need this to not override. We just delete all that, and it should look fine. Yeah, nice. Okay, well, that wasn't too bad. So then all we need to do is probably space them out a little bit more, because it looks like they're too tight right now. Also, what happens if we shrink the size of the screen? I guess there's only so much you can do with a margin here. Oh yeah, the padding, sorry, that was unintentional. I wanted to keep this back down to like this. I didn't ever want to keep that. Yeah, that looks better. And then we just put a little bit more space between these. This is a flow container, so we should be able to do that pretty easily. Where is the flow container? Here it is. And then theme override, constants, H separation. We just set this to like 10 or something. Done. Except for not really. Let's try a number higher than 10. Let's try this. Yeah, so let's set it to, I think you should be able to see like one letter at a time. Yeah, this looks perfect. No, I think more realistically, this is probably pretty good. 20. Yeah, I think that looks nice. Okay. It's at least a good start. Hey Galaxy, doing some graphic stuff today. We're working on the perk choice stuff today, and it just so happens that we're doing some of the user interface for now, but we're probably not going to be doing a lot of user interface stuff. I think we're going to just try to get this to be suitable for a first pass. And I think this looks good. Actually, this is maybe spaced a little too much now. Maybe 15 is better. Yeah, that looks nice. Now it doesn't match the margin there. It actually kind of does make me wonder if I just should have lowered this to like 10 anyway. I think this is good. If I'm in machine learning. Yeah, yeah. I have a lower tolerance for this stuff than I do for back-end coding. And yeah, same thing with CSS. It's like, even if you can fluently speak CSS or UI design, it doesn't mean you're good at it. So like, I was pretty good at knowing how to modify things in CSS, I would say, but I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing. Like, should this be blue or should this be red? Obviously, everyone knows how to change a color of something from blue to red if you want to, but which color is better? Which shade of blue? How much padding should you have? Like, those are the kinds of things where you can be fluent in CSS and not know how to design a UI. I just don't care so much about getting better at it. I want to make passable UIs and rely on other people for the difficult stuff. It's quite nice. Yeah, I don't mind CSS. I think CSS is fine. This is looking good. Yeah, nice. So clean up perks UI. Got rid of the duplicated title and made perks look distinct, or like separated, distinctly separated perks visually. Yeah, nice. Okay, cool. We are making good progress here. So done with that. Don't care about this one for now. Like I said, we could make the whole thing a button. Maybe some people would want that to happen. I think having choose at the same level every time and having this be a pretty big button is probably fine as a start. So it should be apparent whenever you're clicking. Oh, that's not good. That's not good. What happened there? Do I just need to restart this whole thing? There was the old custom panel, and I don't know if that's because I just didn't restart the game. Yeah, it was just because I didn't restart. Okay, everything's fine. All right, so we're going to X this out. Update. I'll see if this is worthwhile to do later. It's not important for now. Remember, and actually I'm saying this as much for myself as I am for anyone watching this stuff. One is we're doing all of this just for the sake of a V1. I'm pretty confident that challenge mode will be fun, but I don't know for sure. So there's no point putting in a ton of polish work and then realizing we have to scrap the whole feature. And two is we just need to keep making progress. Every single little task we complete is another task that brings us closer to the goal. And it doesn't matter if it doesn't seem like it's super important, because it's going to eventually add up to a bigger thing. So the level that we render for perk choices should be one higher than the current level. Yeah. Hey, Apica, you plan on working on the UI, or is the current one fine for you? There is one major change we want to make, and I have a graphic that I can show you. But beyond this major change, there's nothing else planned. So this is what the UI will eventually look like, which I think is fantastic. And we just don't have this in the game yet. But I love it. I think it is amazing. There are little things I would fix up here. But in general, having like this paper background, the little skulls here, the cool looking border, the nicer labels for money and wisdom sludge, like this is so cool. Top left could also use a new graphic. Yeah, we could maybe do something for that. But yeah, I don't have many other plans for this. You know, my general idea is like release a V1 and then keep improving the game. That's my goal. I don't know if that's gonna pan out exactly. I don't want to release this in early access and then have people guess about like, oh, well, are there going to be some like major plans to change the game? It's like, no, we just be improving it. So I think just launching is fine. And the inspiration I take from this is what Terraria did. Their V1, or at least what I remember as a V1, was still a complete game. I think they had like 2 bosses back then, and they had, you know, some subset of the items they have now. I'm just gonna make up a number like 100 items, let's say, and now they're on V whatever, and they've got like whatever 20 bosses and 2,000 items, and the game is very fleshed out, and it's probably some of the best value you could get for $10. But their V1 was a complete game, and I think there's this tendency on Steam, kind of a couple of red flags for people. One is an abandoned game, and two, well, actually, I guess everything I am about to say fits into this category of like, oh, hey, the devs stopped working on this game. That means bad things for this. And it's like, look, if a game is a one-time purchase, let's say you even spend a decent amount of money, like 20 or 40 or any number of dollars here that is not, you know, AAA levels, and you release it and someone had fun playing it, you can't just keep supporting it forever unless you made so many millions of sales that that's it. Like the game was your magnum opus for your whole life. So yeah, at some point you stop working on it. It doesn't mean it's a bad value prop. Super Mario 64 is still fun for some people, and it's like it's not like that game got updates after 1997. Doesn't need to be a consistently developed thing. Okay, so yeah, level is wrong. So if I look at any of these, it's rendering that we have a 0% speed boost. I'm actually not totally sure what you'd expect to see for this. I guess you would expect to see the next level. What happens in the perks UI for this? It renders what you currently have. My brain is not like reading the font too much. I like the font. I think it works for the game. They are all custom fonts for this game. But I can understand if people have a different opinion for that. All right, so what do we expect for this? Do we expect you to see what the current level is giving you, or what the next level will give you? I think at a glance, you'd want to look at the numbers that are highlighted. So I think highlighting the next level is what's important. Because in either case, there's going to be one of these that never gets highlighted. If we only ever highlight the next level, then you're never going to see this one get highlighted. If we only ever highlight the current one, you'll never see the bottom row get highlighted. So yeah, I think it would make sense to highlight the next one. Okay, let's go do that. So somewhere I had a level plus plus, which I think I deleted. Yeah, I deleted it. Well, then it's going to be hard to find this. Maybe to do. Ah, here it is. Okay, so we need a new abilities component that has the ability that we want, but with a level higher than what it currently is. So how hard is this to do? Can we just make a new one of these? We have to pass in abilities, but we can't modify the existing ability. Is there a clone? There is. What does this do? It makes a new one, sets the level. Yeah, so we just do player ability cloned equals this. Why is that failing? Cannot implicitly convert base ability to player ability. Okay, well, we know if we had a player ability to begin with, we can clone it. And then we set the level of that higher. And then we make a new one of these with this, except for this needs to be a collection. And this is going to fail because it doesn't know which kind of collection. No, that works. Okay, and then we do this. And that fixes everything. Hogwarts sold like 30 million copies and they just decided to make a new game rather than add content. Yeah, so I forgot who owns Harry Potter at this point. Is it Disney or not? I don't remember. Anyway, whoever owns it is at a level of wealth already where they're going to do what's probably best for their wealth and not what's best for the consumer. Although I don't know anything about the context of this other than what you shared. Warner Brothers, okay. Yeah, so I think there are times where it makes sense to make a new game. And I think a good example of this was like Risk of Rain 1 to Risk of Rain 2. You can't really argue that this should have just been an expansion of the first one. It's just a totally different game. Whereas a game like Hearthstone has just come out with new content over the last like 10 or 11 years, and they've never made a new game. Same thing with Terraria. Same thing with Stardew Valley. They never split it into a new one. And I think it used to be that technology would get better and better fast enough where your next installment in a series would be a new game. But that hasn't really been the case for a lot of time. So yeah, you will see franchises that just keep going for years and years and years. Yeah, Overwatch versus Overwatch 2 is an example of one that, yeah, probably could have been the same game. Again, I don't know a lot about that. Seems something needs to change. Any tips for how to handle this without unleashing back on him? My boss is aware and working on it, but I still need to not hate my job. Wait, so just to understand, you're saying that some team lead is raising the priority of things that you don't think are high priority while it's trying to raise? Is that the situation? Because I think sort of step one of any of this stuff is understand their motivation. Like, is it good faith? Is it good faith but sort of steered in the wrong direction? Are they frustrated by the stuff? Are they bike shedding? Are they just trying to add value? Are they trying to justify their jobs? Are they not doing a lot of work? They're slacking and they're trying to make it look like they're doing more than they are. Yeah, understand their motivation, because without understanding what their motivation is, you won't know if you're even addressing what it is they want or how to get them to sort of stop doing this. Sorry, everything I ask of that team instantly is a huge and dramatic effort. I'm confident this is an ego thing on his side. Oh, okay. So the context is you want stuff done and they think it's too tough. Or too whatever, time consuming or something like that. Yeah, I think this is kind of interesting because it's like a team typically does have a charter and they're focused on their own thing, and any external requests need to be sort of proven enough. So sometimes it's a matter of like making your case. Sometimes it's a matter of getting someone who has the authority to just tell them to do the thing. Sometimes it's understanding why they're blocked and maybe offering to unblock them, offering either expertise or some amount of person hours of development time. But yeah, I think it can be a challenge. I think that's one of the hard things about working at any company, is working with other people or with customers sometimes. There can be processes that get in the way. Okay, so now we're showing the next level. So this shows that you will get level 1 of this, which will put your stack size at 2. And then if we buy this again, it'll now show level 3 of it. Company-wide effort for the last 2 years almost. I mean, it sounds like, again, I'm only hearing what you're saying now, but the huge and dramatic effort, if something is taking 2 years, it actually is a huge and dramatic effort. Unless what you're saying the effort is that it's hard to convince people to do things. But at that point, I'd say if it's a problem over the course of 2 years, it's a leadership problem. At some point, there needs to be a top-down vision if you can't convince people to do things on your own. I sort of felt this as a difference between Microsoft and Google. At Microsoft, I felt like there was like top-down leadership. People would just tell you, hey, here's what to do, and you would do it, and you trust that they have a vision that makes sense. And when I was at Google, there was a lot of, they'd say it was like engineer-driven culture. I found that that wasn't entirely true, and it was kind of changing. But I also feel like this leads to certain things, like one organization offering I don't know, I don't have great examples of this, but like imagine one organization offering like a file storage plan and then another organization doing the same thing, and now they're like two competing products at Google. Like, that wouldn't have happened if it were a top-down company. I felt like they were shifting more toward what Microsoft was doing at the time, though. We had a team spin for 18 months on a project. Our department VP built and shipped a working version in 2 weeks. That is hilarious. You were both Microsoft and Google. Yeah, at different stages of my career. Microsoft was kind of the beginning. Google was the last industry job I did. I don't like working for big companies. That is what I've concluded. And if anyone wants to know why or how I felt, I try to summarize it in this video that I linked there. I think bottom line, how do I deal with people that need their ego stroked and make people feel like they're terrible at their job? I don't, like I said, I don't know if it's necessarily a responsibility. If there's no authority chain there for you to say, just get this done, then it potentially involves you going to that authority chain such that you don't need to deal with their ego. Because otherwise it's just trying to make a case to them. Maybe if it truly were that, hey, there's no other route to doing this, I'd say it's like proving beyond a shadow of a doubt this needs to be done, and it needs to be done by them. I think those are the two things that would probably convince them. It needs to be done, and this needs to be done by them. They're two different things. The this needs to be done part is like, hey, our metrics show this, or research has shown this, or something like that. And then this needs to be done by them is like, why can't someone else do it? Or can we not offer them, like I said, person hours or something? So yeah, I would say involve management as much as you can. Mark a bunch of tickets as blocked by their work. You can get a VP to code it in 2 weeks. So yeah, so I think I like this. I think this is working. Let's mark that as finished. So show the level that you will unlock with a perk. We used to show what you currently had, which would frequently be level 0. Okie dokie. So this is done. Add a buy perk button to the town menu. Finished. All right, next time, make the perk UI. We've already done a lot of this. Shows a new top level tab in the main menu. We should hide the tab when you don't have a deferred perk choice. This tab is just for town perks. Since battle perks would be in the adventurers tab, blah, blah, blah. Flow container, we did. Keep in mind that the perk choosing UI should work with regular perks or battle perks eventually. Just taking the data that needs to render. I think we did this already. Show a choose later button. I don't know if this is needed. So imagine you're seeing this UI and you're like, ooh, I don't know enough to make this decision. You'd probably just naturally assume you could click away from it, right? I don't think you need a button at the bottom that says like choose later. That's what close is. And you would probably trust that the game would be like, if you tried clicking close and it didn't do that, that it would say like, hey, you haven't made a choice, and just not let you leave. But yeah, I think this is going to be apparent enough to people who just use this, especially if we highlight this somehow. So I don't think we're going to do that. But yeah, we'll figure out as people play this. Add a tooltip saying you can decide later. Yeah, that I don't mind. I don't mind if we put text at the bottom saying like you can navigate away from this UI and you'll still keep the perk choice. So let's just write that down. This is something we're going to want to do. See if there's any confusion about being able to defer perk choices. We could write a note in the UI saying you can choose, you can make this choice later. Something like that. I don't know what it would actually say. But yeah, I don't think we need anything there. So show a choose later button. I don't think we need to do this. Maybe helpful to have a note. Yeah, I wrote that down. All right, we need the ability to show more than just 3 options for meta perk that allows you to choose more perks. Yeah, that we might not have space for. I didn't test that out. Drat. Yeah, we can only condense this stuff so much too. Where is that? Sample 3. Okay, so let's just add in any other random thing here. Ability ID to item stacking. Okay, let's try that. Okay, so that didn't work. I forgot to type a 4 there. All we're doing is seeing what it looks like when there are 4 options. It might be too large for this UI. Also, scrolling might not be bad. I'm not positive. Like, this is a flow container, so if we were to shrink this enough... No, wait, that won't work. If we were to shrink the height of these enough, it would show as a grid of 2 by 2. Also, this isn't even working. What am I doing? What am I doing? Oh, I have item stacking there twice. Oh my god, I'm done. Okay, max customers. Yeah. All right, that's what I wanted to show. Yeah, I think that's fine. I think we probably can't go beyond 4, though. Yeah, and what about at half the size? Yeah, sure, whatever. Okay, that's fine. Done, and we probably won't have icons for everything. I didn't even add an icon for this stuff. I am just going to leave that as is. Okay, so this part's done. We don't need to check this in. So what's next? If you defer to choice, this stuff should change. Maybe even show number of perks you have already. It should change back to buy perk if you don't have any deferred perks. Show the cost right on that. So we did this. We've made it through quite a lot of this. So now it's just about the deferring thing. Bunch have a cost and turn green. Yeah. Oh, man. Okay. So here's the big question. Right now, we show buy perks 50 gold. When you click that button, it immediately purchases a new perk. Question is, should that button just say something like choose perks and bring you to a dialogue where you can choose or buy a perk? And I think the answer is yes. But I want to think about this a little bit more. So right now, it is actually costing you money to click this button. But let's say this had no cost. It just brought you to this UI. When you have a choice, you could choose. When you don't have a choice, we would show a buy button here and tell you how much it will cost. I think that's fine. And I think that's probably preferred. I don't know what we name the button then. It's called buy perks right now. I guess choose perks. That's what we called this. Yeah, I think we do that. Which means we can get rid of this task that we have here. Oh boy. Clicking will do nothing. No other button in that menu will could be disabled. Maybe better have the time when you bring up the dialogue for that. Yeah, so I think we rename the buy perks button to choose perks and have it just open the choose perks tab. And then color it green if you have enough money for the next perk or if you defer to choice. Wait a second though, wait a second. We said we were going to reuse the battle perks thing in there, right? And then add a buy button to the choose perks dialog when you don't have any deferred choices. Figure out whether we want to disable it. So it'd never be disabled. So we can just delete this. This is done. How does this thing work? Meaning we need to populate it with either town perks or battle perks, depending on what you clicked last. When you finish choosing, it should show you the town perk choices. Or after picking, we go back to the adventure. Yeah. Yeah, maybe this will work. Okay, let's try it. Let's try it. So we go to town menu, we rename this. This shouldn't be called buy perks anymore then, I guess. It's going to be choose perks. Is that going to be confusing with having a perks button right beneath it? Like they're two separate tabs. One will show you which ones you've already unlocked, which it's not doing that yet. And the other one is letting you choose new ones. I think it's probably fine. I think the game will have taught you that the perks button is where you do both at first. I don't know. Well, we'll see how it plays out. I guess it's just wording, so we can change the wording easily enough. All right, buy perks button. We're going to call this choose perks button. And then choose perks button tooltip. Buy perks button is here. This is going to be choose perks button. Pressed what? Pressed choose perks button. All right, there's no buy perk. It's just gonna, I gotta change a lot. All right, rename this, have it just open it, color green. Okay, have it open the tab. Let's have it do that. How do we do that? Generate choices had a thing that did this somehow for us. Set perk choices. Choices changed, which then signaled to the panel tab container that we wanted to change it and go to that tab. Yeah, how nice. Okay, we gotta change this. Generate choices. This wouldn't be done here. This wouldn't be done here. No matter what, we're just going to the dialogue. So none of this is needed. Even the to-do isn't needed. So I guess we need to move this code elsewhere. And here we need to signal to the, what is it called? Perks panel tab container. What was it called? Panels tab container. Yeah, this. Signal to the panels tab container. I have a shortcut that involves Command Q. And if I don't press the first chord, the first thing in the chord, then it just quits. So that was my bad. I thought I pressed Command K first. I probably didn't. Anyway, now I can't do what I was trying to do easily because I quit. So where did I write that? Yeah, here, signal to the panels tab container that we need to show the right tab. So this had the perk choice tracker doing it. Choices changed. And we needed this for some reason because when you choose a perk, we needed to change the UI. We're not generating a perk here though. We're literally just signaling to the panel tab container. So something needs to know about this. I guess we can get the menu and instead of this, we have this emit an event. Seems pretty easy. So the event will be on toggle choose perks. Seems pretty simple. Yep. And then put this here. And then have the panels tab container listen for that. Do we have that somewhere? The overlay visibility controller listens for that? Uh-oh. It's not a problem. Whoops. Overlay visibility controller on toggle. Well, okay, something listens for that. I don't know what it is. Town menu.cs on toggle perks. The UI listens for it? Okay, this is perhaps a bit unusual. Toggle choose perks visibility. Choose perks panel? All right, there we go. So this is probably not needed. Update and then open it. This is whenever it changes. Oh man. Yeah. Oh man. I don't know. Is this called anywhere now? Yeah, it's whenever the choices change. All right, well, there needs to be a buy button that handles this. We don't have anything for that right now, do we? No. There's some text in there, though. Where's that text? No choices label. No choices label. Yeah, this needs to be a buy button. Okay, let's try what I've done so far. We just need to go back to town menu for a second. And color this based on whether you have enough. This will say choose perk, so I guess we don't even change this. And if you have deferred perks, we do this. How do we know that you have them? To figure out whether we have deferred perks. Town menu needs to show that correctly. So we just don't even do this. Great. Okay, so this is all fine. Then move this code elsewhere. So we need this to be in a buy button in this tab. So it's not no choices label. We're gonna add a button here. I'm not gonna think about this for right now. Buy perk. Or set via code, buy perk. Doesn't really matter. And then its cost needs to be set where we had done it in here. All right, so let's call this the buy perk button. Delete the no choices label. This is just going to show in the middle of nowhere for right now. Choose perks panel tab. No choices label is going to be turned into a button. Buy perks button. Good. Pressed plus equal buy perk. And that's where this goes. And we plug in the code I just deleted from over here. No, it's not from over here. Where was it? Town menu. Oh, here it is. So this goes here. Update from perk choices. So this is going to be whether this thing is visible or not by perk button. And I guess we need to set the cost of it. By perk. And we set the cost here. Perk choice tracker dot get cost of next perk. Oh no, there isn't one. What's supposed to do this? Oh, it's just called cost of next perk. Okay. I was like, I'm pretty sure I had done that. All right, how are we looking now? Now we just need the code that was in here, which should have it to be elsewhere. Yeah. Oh wait, we don't have a saved perk choice tracker, which is quite the problem. So let's just save that. And this will be initialized with, yuck, what initializes this? Panel tab container. This doesn't know what the perk choice tracker is. Oh, I don't like it. I don't like it. It's not gonna work. Oh man. I think this points to the ownership of this being wrong. This thing that we want is currently owned by the town menu. It has probably no reason to be owned by the town menu. Although actually, now that I think about it, when we initialize the town, we could just fetch this thing. Let's do that for now. I kind of hate that. Yeah, I kind of hate that. Well, whatever for now. Town.ui.menu.perk choice tracker. Yeah, I hate it. And this isn't even right. It's a town perk choice tracker. Oh, nice. All right, I think we've done it. What else is on this list? Color green if you have enough money, or if you have a deferred perk. Add a buy perk thing, and make this open the thing. Yeah, yeah. I think we've done it all. Okay, so if I click this, it's currently green because we can afford this. It's just one gigantic buy button. I didn't mean to do that. But sure, let's click the giant button. That works. Now we can pick this. And now it doesn't do anything. And this is not green. But if we get enough money, it turns green. So it needs to also turn green. Oh, nice, it does. Wait, is that just because you have enough money, though? Wait, whoa, whoa, whoa. How does it know to do that? Highlight green. Let me put a breakpoint there. I click here. It doesn't know at all. Yeah, it doesn't know. So whenever your money changes. Okay. So yeah, how do we know that you have deferred perks? I guess town perk choice tracker dot set perk choices. Is this public? It is public. So if your perk choices are greater than 0, then you have deferred perks. All right. Oop. Why was that unnecessary assignment? Sure. Oh, we could just set it to true. No, we can't. Now what's the problem with this? Town perk choice tracker. What is it supposed to be called? Just perk choice tracker. All right. Okay, let's make the button not be gigantic. Oh, there's no way to do that? Because the margin container controls the size of the buy perk button. I guess we could just put it inside a VBox container. Although we also need to put it inside of an HBox container too, I think. This might work. I think we have to change this. Yeah, because we're gonna always have the VBox container be visible, even though the button inside it will be invisible, which might mean that it takes up space. Okay, no, that's kind of what I wanted. Now I click buy and what happens? I don't know, it looks fine. Can we make the background of this be a different color? No. Can we do this and make it red? That wouldn't do anything, would it? No. This probably has a size that is 0. What is its current size? Current size is gigantic. I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, I don't know. I think we'd have to hide this. I think the other thing we need to do is put this inside of an HBox container as well. And now this button will show up just fine. But then this needs to be centered. And maybe even within here it needs to be centered. So now it's just in the center of the dialogue. I don't think that's going to look any better. Maybe it will. Yeah, it's not bad. Why can't I click these now? Because of the VBox container. Okie dokie. Ignore. Ignore. Well, it's still good progress. All right, yeah. So I can click, and now I can click one of these things too. All right, we probably need sound effects when you buy these things. I'll add that in the cleanup section toward the end. I don't have a cleanup section toward the end. Do the quickest amount of polish here. Add sound effects when you choose a perk. Should we just do that now? No, I don't want to do that now. I think we need to move. We need to move faster, make more progress. All right, rename buy perk. So we've done this. Color it green when you have enough money, or if you defer to choice. So we don't have enough money. Can we get exactly 50 somehow? I don't think so. Well, we can just restart. So this gives us, this is green because we can afford it. It should be green now because we have deferred choices, and it's not, which means this is broken. Let's go find out why it's broken. It's going to get hit immediately. We don't care. We click this button and click this. Oh, it's a race condition. We change our money before we generate the choices. And now we don't. And that's all it should take. So this is green. We click this, it should still be green. We click this, it should be white. It is not because our money didn't change. So we need to know once we've chosen a perk. All right. We need to detect when you've chosen a perk so that the town menu can update the choose perks buttons highlight. All right, how are we gonna do that? Update by perk button. This needs to be once you've gotten the perk. The only thing that knows you've gotten the perk, I guess the tracker knows you've gotten the perk. It knows when your choices have changed at least. Yeah, so I guess we could just listen for that. Where do we set up the tracker? Well, there we go. Perk choice tracker, change, update. No overload takes a thing. The thing being the tracker. Yeah, there. Okay, same repro. Should work this time. It does. We get enough money, it turns green. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. Yeah, it's all working. All right, so that is done. That is done. Revamp buying a perk. It used to be that the town menu would show the buy button. Now it shows a choose perk, a choose button. That brings you to the dialogue where you can either choose or buy a perk. This should be a better flow for a number of reasons. We don't ever need to disable the town menu button based on money. You can buy a perk from the same dialogue where you choose them. What else? There was another reason why I did this. I don't remember. All right, whatever. That's good then. I guess 2 is still a number of reasons. Choose perks. Looks good. Yeah. Yeah, nice. It's looking fine. All right, cool. Any to-do items I could delete now? No. All right, so what's this next one? If you defer to choice, buy should change to choose and maybe show a number. Should change back to buy if you don't have any deferred ones. I'm going to just skip this for now. Update skipping this for now. It may be needed later, but maybe not. Deferring a choice means we need to track which ones we show. That's done. Button should have a cost and turn green. We already handled this above. Cleanup. Who should own this? Who is listening? Consider whether this should be initialized with this so we don't need to pass it every function. Was there actually a reason to differentiate between the subclasses? If they're the same, then delete them and use the base class. Oh, this is not going to be obvious until we get to the battle perks. And then make sure we've addressed all the to-do items. I think we're going to move some of this cleanup elsewhere. namely these. Yeah. Yeah, there. So these are the last two decisions to be made, and then we're done with choosing perks. Well, not really. Who should own it? Who is listening to it? All right, let's go take a look. Who is listening to it? So right now, the town menu owns it. And the thing that cares about it, the Choose Perks panel tab definitely cares about it. Well, it could access it through the town if we wanted. The panels tab container, I guess, also has the town. And why? Wait, is this even a thing? What does this do? Update from perk choices. And then opens this thing. It shouldn't open it if it's... I don't know about that. And what is this thing for? This makes the perk buttons reflect the perks that you have. That's important. And nothing else calls this? Nothing else calls this. We don't need to open this anymore. Yeah, we're going to get a different tracker. We need this to not be anything specific to town stuff. It kind of is right now because of this cost thing. Wait a second, though. The cost is only based on town perks. This thing shouldn't be visible if the tracker... All right, this is going to get complicated. But that's not worth tackling yet. What's this one about? This one's fine. I don't care about this. And this is fine. So it's just a question of, does this belong here? And I think the way to answer that is with another question. Is there a better place for it? I can't think of a better one right now, so let's leave it there. Do we need to pass it around everywhere? Or should we access it through the town menu? Choose Perks panel tab gets initialized with the town. We could just save off the tracker. Except for this might allow us to pick a battle perk as well. Okay, how about this? Let's write a thing in cleanup here once it's more obvious how we're using this. How are we using this? Because once battle perks have been coded, it may be more obvious who should own each tracker and how they should be passed around. E.g. the buy button. Where's this code? Buy perk. Who owns that? Choose perks panel tab. Choose perks panel tab dot buy directly accesses the town's tracker because that's the only kind of perk you outright buy, at least with gold. All right. So what do we do? I deleted a thing that wasn't needed. This could just be amended in the last commit. Amend. Yeah. Oops. I messed that up. Let's try that one more time. Amend that time. There we go. That should have all been lumped into one commit, right? Yeah, good. No autoload singleton. I don't want to have singletons for pretty much anything. Yeah. Like we do only have one town menu and it only has one town perk tracker. But making it a singleton would mean that if I ever did want to write automated tests, I need to like inject different singletons somehow, which would be difficult. It's also just hard to track dependencies. Then again, this is one of the things I've always struggled with, which is I'm probably not going to write automated tests anytime soon. The sake of the game is just to, I don't know, it's based on the assumptions we have right now. And if those ever change, we could unwind this thing, but I think it'd be really annoying to do. Anyway, whatever. What we have works. What's the other question that we had here? So I'm just gonna write a minus sign here and just write update. I want to code battle perks before deciding exactly what to do here. And then consider whether this should be initialized with this thing, so we need to pass it. Yeah, sure. Let's just do that later. That's what playtesters are for. All right, so we're done with all of that too. Now what? Now we're on allow choosing battle perks. Okay, so this is like a whole other big section here. Why is this underneath its own like tasks thing? Can't we just tab all this back now? Yeah, and now we can check this. Is that at the same indentation as this one? Yeah, nice. Okay. Can you collapse this? No, you can't. Right? There's no way to do that. No. Oh well. All right, so this is the next thing. We should take a break before we do this. Let me look through this again. Show perks you've chosen. All perks. Show battle perks in there. Allow for building. Yeah. I think trying to get this done today would be great. Because then what we can do is show the stuff you've gotten, allow for getting buildings and adventurers. And that's the majority of the difficulty would have been tackled. Other than balancing. Balancing's really tough. But yeah, nice. Okay, so far so good. I'm going to take a break. Is it jump time? It's jump time. Hello again. GG, close the game. All right, allow choosing battle perks. Note, battle perk choices should go into the new tab we made, meaning we need to populate it with either town perks or battle perks depending on what you clicked last. Pick one. When you finish choosing a battle perk, it should probably show you the town perk choices you may have deferred, or after picking, you may want to go back to the adventurer that triggered switching tabs. Oh boy, I don't know. Let's think about this. There's no easy way to test this. We need the farm. Let's go make the farm, I guess, when we skip tutorial. So we're gonna create farm. Was this taken? Should fade in? I don't care. Delete this. Okay. Yeah, this is just for testing. So I gotta figure out what the flow for this is, because we're either reusing what I have here, which if we want a certain flow is gonna be the smartest thing we can do. And if we don't, it's going to paint us into a corner. So we have two different things here. We have town perks. This is currently just the buy perk button here. And if you were to click this, you'd be presented with a bunch of different town perks you can get. So whatever, you choose one. This is working just fine. And then in adventurers, we have the level up button. The level up button is going to be replaced with buy battle perk. And that's because you buy a battle perk for a specific adventurer. So maybe you get something like give you a skill point or give you life steal or something like that. And you get those perks using sludge. And I think if the cost is going to go up per adventurer, then you'd want it to do, like I click level up, it brings me over to here, and I see, I don't have the money, hang on. And I see 3 options. Oh, darn it. We need to probably disable the buy perk button when you don't have enough money. Yeah. All right, let's do that afterward. That's kind of minor. Minor tasks. Disable the buy perk button when you don't have enough gold. Okay, anyway, right now what people tend to do in the game, when you have a lot of sludge and you hire new adventurers, they click this button like 4 times. Is there a better way we could choose? Let's just write some random thoughts down here. So right now, if you have, say, 500 sludge and hire a new adventurer, you'll click level up a few times. You may still want to do that in challenge mode, but the problem is that it's now by battle perk and requires a choice to be made after. This suggests that after buying a battle perk, we should put you back on the adventurer screen so that you can buy another perk. Yeah, that is what that suggests. Alternatively, we do this in a totally different UI. For battle perks in particular, though, you don't need to know any other information at the time. I don't know if that's true. We don't know what all the battle perks are going to be. Would there be a case where you need to go away from this screen? I guess imagine, yeah, maybe. Like imagine you were offered plus 100 health. You might be like, well, which adventurer has more health? Maybe this will turn into my tank. And in doing so, you want to click a different adventurer. So like you click the cleric. If you couldn't click the cleric to figure that out, you'd have no way of knowing what health they have. You'd have to memorize them all, which is not something we could expect you to do. Which suggests to me that we reuse the choose perk screen and we show battle perks here. But what if you already had deferred perks? It's not necessarily true. Even something like plus health may make you wonder the HP level of your other tanks. All right, and then what was the last thing I just said? Oh yeah, what happens if you already had town perk choices when choosing a battle perk, or battle perk choices? Well, you can't have it the other way around, right? Want a town perk? Oh boy. All right, so the battle perk could be prioritized. you have to pick it before the town perk, or we could have two tabs. Choose battle perk and choose town perk. Like I said, I don't know what's best, and we're gonna have to figure this out. So imagine you're presented with this choice and you're like, you know what? I don't know what I want just yet. So you click away from this. You still have that choice later. You can make that choice whenever you want. But let's say one of the things you do in the meantime is you're like, well, let me take a look at what my battle perks would be. So you click buy battle perk here. If it brings you back to that same tab, it'll overwrite these now with your battle perks temporarily. So now instead of this stuff, you see like plus health, plus damage, plus fortitude. And you pick one of those, and then it shows you this afterward. I think that would be a little bit jarring because you might be like, oh, where was my town perk that I could see? Which would suggest that we would need another tab for choosing your battle perk, which I guess you could also defer. Oh, man. All right, so yeah, and then what happens if you buy a battle perk on Adventurer A, but don't follow through on choosing? And then buy a battle perk on Adventurer B. So here are my conclusions so far, or what I'm leaning toward. We have a choose town perks tab and a choose battle perks tab. Separate. There. So we have separate tabs for both of those. After choosing a battle perk, it puts you back on the adventure screen. And even that I'm not certain about. And what's the last thing? We prevent buying another battle perk until you choose the one that's outstanding. But here's another thought. What if there was the concept it's so stupid of a battle perk? Oh man. I don't know. It was something like, what if you could defer many battle perk choices at once, up to one per adventure? A lot of this would be simplified by just making you pick the thing as soon as you click this. Like we could pop up just a new dialogue. It just forces you to choose right now. There's no way of getting out of it. Sort of like I don't have any signs, so I can't show it. Sort of like this. Imagine if there was no dismiss button here. You wouldn't be able to dismiss this dialogue by clicking in the background or anything, so you'd have to pick. Hey, Ciela, good evening. That would simplify things, but it would actually also complicate some things because now the perk choosing UI would be different based on whether it's a dialogue or a panel. So yeah, I don't think we use a dialogue. But then the concept of being able to click all of these and click level up, well, it's buy battle perk, click buy battle perk for all of them. And then you have like 6 battle perks that you haven't chosen. That also strikes me as strange. So we need, oh man. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I want to do for this. Maybe we should rethink the game design behind all of this. Modal dialogue seems fine. Worked with blueprints. But in blueprints, it wasn't modal, right? Couldn't you see the map you already had? Because I don't think you could pick a new room without knowing what map you already had. It did force you to make that decision, but it also lets you see all the other decisions that might have influenced the new decision. And I guess what I'm getting at here is you might click buy battle perk for the rogue, but then need to go look at your other characters first, or maybe your skills that you have, in which case we need to give you access to that stuff. I'm just not sure. I don't like the bouncing back and forth of this. All right, let's put all this in the document for now. Yeesh. All right, so scratch battle perks. I'll just write the date here and then all of this stuff. So I don't like that you would be bouncing between sections of the UI for this. And that you can't quickly spend all of your sludge on one adventurer without changing, while having to choose perk options. And that you can have deferred choices and not realize it. Adventurers have skill points that you can spend, and then battle perk choices you can make. Hey Bobby, and thanks Magmine for linking that in. Yeah, Adam 1 Dark Vivid. So there's another thing we can do here, which is we can code what I'm leaning toward and then evaluate what the problems seem to be. But I think if we can predict what the problems are, that we should probably address them first. Buying another battle perk for a particular adventurer until you choose the one that's outstanding for them. Oh man. All right. Well, is there a problem with the town perk stuff? I feel like this is another issue. This is the reason why I want to do this. We have separate ones. The reason this makes sense, let's put all this into a list. This would make buy perk on the town perk tab be obvious that it's for town perks and it costs gold. And it would allow you to see your outstanding town perk choice when you're choosing a battle perk. Not that it probably matters. So then what am I concerned about? Bouncing between UIs, you can't quickly spend your sludge. I'm not even sure that's a problem. So all of these are addressable, or they're required as part of you being able to defer choices. I guess the other thing is that the town menu will have choose perk, but it's really just for town perks. Or maybe you have a choose battle perk button that shows conditionally. Okay, there is a thought process I should pursue for at least a little bit. What if we change the game design so that you got battle perks in a different way? There was a reason why I had it work the way that it already worked, though. So let's go read about that. Unlock them separately. How do you choose which adventure? Are you choosing battle perk for rogue and then something else? Are you choosing plus health and you assign to the adventure? Maybe there's a limit per adventure and we just stop showing them. Maybe we wait it. I think the problem with showing you something like plus health for the rogue is it's too granular compared to other choices. I didn't write the thing about it taking sludge. I thought we wrote about this. There was a reason for that. You get the option to level up. I'm gonna read about this. I don't think I wrote this down anywhere. All right, I don't know. But yeah, what if this happened in a different way? So I guess what I'm thinking about is in the choose perks thing, you have a buy perk button for 50 gold here. So you know you're spending gold, you see your gold at the top. What if there was a choose battle perks tab and you saw a buy perk and it just took a certain amount of sludge? So it said 50 sludge instead. But then I guess the problem is, so yeah, what if we just had buy battle perk 50 sludge? So then the cost would increase based on how many you've gotten so far. That's a pro, I think. And the other thing would be you do everything from one UI, from buying to choosing. It would be more consistent with the way town perks work. And now for the major con is that this is no longer per adventurer. I don't know how you're choosing. I don't know what the perk choices look like. So one would be, we have something like plus health, plus rogue health, plus warrior power, and plus mage skill point. It could do something like that, where you're just presented with random options. And sometimes it'll be for an adventure you want, sometimes it's for one you don't want. So option one is show perks for like specific to each adventurer and have you choose one, e.g. this versus this versus this. Pros and cons here, I guess a con is like this probably makes you less likely to want more adventurers since it will dilute your pool. And pros, it's easy. Option two is have perks affect all of your adventurers. So you get plus health, plus power, or plus skill point. And you would still see something like, yeah, let's write it like this. Force the player to roll with the punches more. I'm not certain because they're just not, they're not very impactful. Like if you see rogue health and warrior power and you're like, well, my warrior's a tank, my rogue is not a tank. It's like these both kind of suck. I guess what we could do is like option 1B would be show bundles of upgrades at once. So you may see rogue health, warrior power in one bucket, and mage skill point, witch doctor lifesteal in another. I did think, oh man, maybe this is too granular to begin with anyway. Concerned battle perks will be too granular. Are they even interesting at that point? I think having them is good. I think making them be super niche is probably not good. It's more impactful upgrades for one character. Yeah. Well, it kind of makes me wonder, like, should we just have level ups as the perks? And maybe each, I don't know. Yeah. So your perks would be like level up the rogue, level up the mage, level up the cleric. So now all you're choosing is who gets more powerful, like across the board. I guess what's the most interesting? That's yeah. What should this system be trying to do? I think the ideal goal is for you to feel like there's a lot of creativity in building up your adventurers such that you can have like wacky parties with broken designs. Yeah, I think that's it. So like imagine if you got a build one time where your rogue has like 100% life steal. You're just like, this is crazy. I don't even need a healer in this party. Like that to me is interesting and will change how you make certain decisions. But I'm not sure how far reaching those decisions will go. Get a rogue with 100% life steal. And they just don't need a healer or maybe even a tank. Oh, the other thing though is, or is it no longer per adventurer? Single buy. Yeah, there's an. I think this is like the perk choices may be too granular. I'm not actually sure what they would look like. And then the other problem is the more, if the sludge cost rises per perk choice, then you may get to a point where your new adventurers aren't doing very much. Kind of like that because it makes each run feel different. If you would usually want to build up your warrior, but you only get options for rogue, mage, cleric, you'll be guided into new exciting interactions. That's an interesting thing to think about there, yeah. This may steer your builds a bit more. Wait, no, that's a pro. Could make runs feel different. Could always have it. Oh man. Okay, I gotta think out loud more. I'm being too critical right now. We just need to come up with some ideas. So show bundles of upgrades at once. You could see multiple adventures at a time. In this case, it'd still steer you, but at least you'd feel like there's a fallback option. Because I guess one of the problems with this is we only expect you to get so many battle perks in the game. Yeah, we only expect you to get so many. And I don't know how many you might work out to for a specific game, but I guess let's imagine a scenario where we opted for a random set of 3 to 4 choices, like plus rogue power and plus mage skill point. What would a game look like? So you get your first like whatever 50 sludge and you buy a battle perk. It says plus rogue health. You hate it. It doesn't feel like it actually helped. So yeah, we need them to be impactful. It does kind of make me think that they should all be level ups and then they should just give you different stats. Should probably all be level ups and just give different stats alongside it. I guess the concept of a level up is just plus health, plus power, plus fortitude, and plus 1/2 of a skill point. One every other level. So if a level up is defined as that, we can just redefine it to be like 4 random stats. In fact, yeah, maybe that's better. Maybe this is considered gear. Maybe you're buying gear for your player. That's only funny to me. Yeah, so we could just redefine a level up to be random stats, but always like 3 to 4 at a time. I'm not sure that that's interesting or that that's maybe it's like 2 at a time. 2 to 3 at a time. Inventory? No, not inventory. That is not going to happen. When I was talking about gear, what I meant is more like you're building up a gear set by just adding random stats to your character. It's not really gear. Also, any gear system does imply that you'd have an inventory that you'd be picking. Otherwise, it's not really gear, is it? So yeah, it's not gear. Redefine a level up to be random stats, but always 2 to 3 at a time. So yeah, we'd have something like plus rogue power and plus rogue lifesteal versus plus warrior skill point and plus warrior whatever, I don't know, fortitude, and mage, maybe like haste plus mage health. So now these decisions might be a little bit more interesting because in each case you're going to be upgrading an adventurer, so their level will go up. We could, I guess, just getting the same. So you might be like, well, my rogue is the most powerful. Let's just put another thing here, like plus cleric. I don't know, what's the thing that wouldn't matter? Yeah, like lifesteal maybe, and plus cleric damage mitigation. Yeah, so fortitude. You might be like, well, my cleric's my strongest character already, but these stats don't really help. So yeah, maybe that is a decision that now you're more likely to take because you're just like, well, it's something. They don't need to heal themselves now, and they'll tank a little bit more damage. I could see this working. I think some of these are going to be much more impactful than other ones, though. Like getting health might be good. Maybe health we consider to be boring. We just always give it to that character. Maybe health is a given since it's sort of boring. And there are 2 random ones after that. Okay, that could be more interesting. Alternatively, maybe health isn't here at all. And it's just from the treasure system. Or maybe this is only for exciting stats, since the treasure system can give power and health. But if you don't get power and health, and you don't have the treasure system, then there's no way for you to level up. So you'd be sending a bunch of parties into like the level 1 area just to get some loot. Like it truly highlights why playtesting is so important for this, because there are any number of ways we can go with this. We could imagine you did start a run and we just said, imagine that the level ups are just for like non-basic stats like haste, lifesteal, dodge, etc. None of them increase your power directly. Haste kind of does. But let's just say this were the case. So now you're playing through a run and you're like, well, I'm not getting more powerful and I'm not getting more life. So I can't really fight in higher level areas. So something would need to push you toward building the treasure room at some point. But you can't force getting the treasure room. You have a random choice of 2 buildings at any time. And there are 6 buildings total. So you might, I guess after you've built 4 buildings, you're guaranteed to have seen all of the choices. But until then, you're not guaranteed to ever see the treasure room. You might always be given choices, A and B, where there's just something else. And you're just like, all I wanted was a treasure room, and you build it finally on your 5th building. There could be a run that works, that's actually a viable strategy. Or it could be that you realize, oh, I didn't get the treasure room in the first like 3 choices, so this run is dead. I wouldn't want that to happen. But giving the creative freedom for people to be able to pursue their own builds means balancing them so that they're all viable in some way. And that's why I said this needs playtesting, because how do you figure any of this out? Anyway, I'm inclined to just not say it's for the exciting stats. I think it could show up with anything, but I think that health is kind of boring, so we should probably make it always give health. So yeah, so now what I'm leaning toward is we show you 3, oh wait, how does this work when you only have 1 adventurer? Maybe you don't get another option at all. All right. Anyway, we show you up to 3 random adventurers as choices, and each one has plus health. Each one always has plus health, and then has 2 random modifiers, e.g., power, fortitude, dodge, lifesteal, skill point, etc. Whatever other things we can come up with there. And yeah, that's it. That's the whole thing. Oh, and there's one sludge cost that keeps going up every time you buy a battle perk. At that point, there's no choice of what to spend your sludge on. So basically, sludge is just auto-consumed. Is there anything else you can spend your sludge on? There isn't. Wait, what else can you even spend it on in the game right now? Right now, you can choose which adventurer. In the base game, you choose which adventurer to spend it on. In challenge mode, the way this is designed, you would choose the perk, but we could auto spend your sludge. All right, so is this fun? Your very first choice that you get, you'll now see a bunch of different stats. I mean, I guess part of this comes down to how many stats do we have. We could actually even grant abilities if we wanted to. We could give like the warrior quick strike or something, which would be pretty crazy. But at that point, you're kind of just building up your party as a whole. I guess not really. Yeah, so is this fun? What creativity do you have? Well, what other stats did I talk about? Damage mitigation, lifesteal, dodge, damage boost on your heal, haste, crit, etc. could increase stats. I think this will unlock some cool synergies without having to explicitly be skills. Okay, some of these were not just straight up stats, I guess. Although they could all be for a specific adventurer. Chance to use an active ability again. A thorns buff in battle. Thorns, regen. Yeah, etc. A skill point. I guess a skill at some point. Maybe you can't get a skill unlock unless you have a skill you can put it into. Or you don't get a skill point unless you have a skill that's already unlocked. I don't know if you want 2 unlocks for those. How do you unlock skills? Maybe each. All right, so is this fun? You start a new run, you randomly assign the spirit caller because the first adventure is totally random. And you see some stats for them. By the way, you don't even you can't even unlock any of this stuff until you have the farm or the fishing pond. So all of this hinges on you getting sludge, and there's no way to get sludge outside of those 2 things. Then I guess there could be a perk where like it drops from battle, or you can convert it from gold, which further opens up your creativity. Anyway, whatever. So you have this spirit caller, and it says, hey, you can get plus lifesteal. Oh, wait a second. Lifesteal doesn't even affect the spirit caller because they don't do damage. Their dog does or whatever, right? Or the snake, I mean. So the snake would have lifesteal. I guess it could get the stats. No, that wouldn't help. But anyway, they're invincible. Yeah. So that makes no sense. Do we need to limit the buffs for certain adventurers? E.g., the spirit caller doesn't benefit from lifesteal unless we allow for granting an ability. since only there's snake attacks. And the snake is invincible until the spirit caller dies. They could technically benefit from lifesteal, but it'd be so minor that we might not even want to grant it as an option. I don't like the idea of options coming up in a game where you'll almost never pick them. They're like a 1% of the time kind of thing. I think it's got to be at least a 10% of the time kind of thing. Or that they make sense with a particular build. But yeah, imagine if there's something like a warrior in the game and it's got an attack and it's got a defend kind of ability, and then you get like plus, I don't know, healing efficacy from healing spells. And you're like, well, my warrior doesn't have a healing spell. So like this is only useful in the random other 1% case where it's like grant a healing spell to a character. So it's like, okay, when you see both of these, that could benefit the warrior, but otherwise this one's pretty much useless. So it's like, maybe just don't even show this one until you've been given this, and then now that unlocks this one. Whereas for the cleric, this one can show up by default, and this wouldn't show up at all. I like that idea of conditionally showing them. So show you 3 random adventurers as choices. Each one always has plus health, and it has 2 random modifiers. There's 1 sludge cost that keeps going up every time you buy a battle perk. So is this fun? I think we pretty much can't answer any of these questions about is any of this fun until we've kind of tried a bit of it. And what Monadic Bind said is true in that this might steer you toward different adventurers, but it doesn't exactly do that right now. It might actually steer you toward not getting new adventurers. Could have an override for the source on lifesteal, which we'd change on the spirits to be the spirit caller. We could, I think that would be a strange idea. But yes, we could do that. I guess it could be a spirit caller specific buff saying something like every time your snake does damage, you gain life. You could even make a special lifesteal for the spirit caller and say whenever your snake deals damage, you gain life. Not sure I'd want this level of complexity for a battle perk. So how does it work when you only have 1 adventurer? Are you disincentivized from getting more adventurers since it means you can't pump perks into just the 3? Hey, Balls playing. Happy Monday. Played through the game a few days ago. It's come a long way. Honestly enjoyed it. Nice. Yeah. Yeah, there's this thing in the works, challenge mode, that I think is going to be fun. For those who haven't seen, by the way, I'll type a couple things in the chat right now really quickly. These 2 things. So I'm not sure I like this part of things. Are you disincentivized from getting more adventurers since it means you can't pump perks into just the 3? You know what it makes me wonder? What if you got battle perks offered for adventurers you don't have yet? It would be a real shame, I think, for a lot of people. Because imagine this, that you start with the rogue, you finally get the farm, you get your first perk, and it's for 3 adventurers you don't have. So fine, whatever, you pick one. Now you get another choice, and it's still for 3 that you don't have. So again, fine, whatever, you pick one. Now one of 2 things could happen, I guess. So route 1 is you decide to finally get the adventurers that you got perks for. Or route 2 is you get mad. So what's more likely? So stupid. Because yeah, you only have the rogue, you unlock the battle perks, and it's like, oh, okay, warrior's there. Fine, that sounds good. I'll pick the warrior one. Then you get offered ones for now different adventurers from the rogue and the warrior. again, you might be like, well, I already have those leveled up, so let's go unlock them. There could be a meta perk here, like meta perk. You only get battle perks for adventurers you already have. All right. Honestly, I think I'm leaning toward that you can get perks for adventurers you don't have. And then we could add this in as a perk that you get as a town perk. Because there will be some runs where you don't want a lot of adventurers. And maybe that's fine. Maybe you do get a superpowered adventurer, but they're only doing one battle at a time. And then other runs where you want many different ones. And then maybe some where you get this perk and you like superpower your party of 4 players. Time flies when you watch somebody making a game. Thanks, Leap Year Girl. Happy 1/3 of a year anniversary. Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a good weekend. All right, yeah, I'm leaning toward this. I mean, we might as well lean into the chaos. Rationale for why I think this is good. It opens up the decision tree. You really have to lean into the chaos. By the way, this is how a lot of other games work when you have a choice. Again, imagine some like random RPG that's a roguelike, and you have this concept of like a fire build and a lightning build and a melee build, and you're offered like a rare lightning item, and it says like plus 500% lightning damage, but you do 0 lightning damage at the time. You might take this because you might be like, oh, this is like a build enabler. Now that I have this super rare thing, now when I finally do get the thing that says like plus 5 lightning damage, it's actually going to be plus 500% of that 5. And that's really, really good. And then sometimes this item never materializes and your run dies. And you're like, if I only hadn't picked that relic that was based on a hypothetical, I should have chosen something that would help me now. Those choices are interesting ones to make. And I guess the same sort of thing happens. Like that literal item exists in Risk of Rain 2. There's the fire extinguisher looking thing. Where is that? What is it called? It's the red one. Apparently it does not have fire in the name. Well, that's possible. Wait, what, really? Ignite? Ignition tank. Here it is. Yeah. Ignite effects deal 300% more damage. You might not have an ignite effect, in which case this is pointless. And it might remain pointless for your entire run. Or same thing with this item scrap. It says prioritize when using 3D printers. If you never find a 3D printer or you don't find a desirable one, it's like, yeah, this is kind of pointless. And that's okay. I think that's part of what makes roguelike games interesting. Is you got a bunch of useless trash. How do you make that useless trash good? So yeah, I think I'm leaning toward this. This is sort of like the ignition tank in Risk of Rain 2. It's super powerful when you have ignite effects, but you may never see those ignite effects. Okay, so what's the conclusion from all this stuff? Conclusions. So there's one buy battle perk button, which costs an increasing amount of sludge. You get random battle perks for any adventurers, even ones you don't have. What else? Each perk gives plus health and 2 other random modifiers. And what else do we write? Yeah, okay. So now, is this fun? Let's just say yes. What creativity do you have? This we could answer ahead of time. So you can pick whether you want to boost adventures you don't have or ones you do have. With the ones you do have, you're going to pick which stats are the most interesting to you, maybe based on some weakness or flaw that you witness in your party. Maybe your rogue's dying too soon, so you do give them plus fortitude. I think a lot of this is it's gonna make people want the ability to see like a breakdown of every single stat in the game in battles and see them at a glance so they can make these decisions more easily. I could totally see people asking for that. Anyway, how do you unlock skills? So I haven't totally answered this, and I don't think I want to answer this just yet. Not sure I want to answer this just yet. It doesn't change the UI at all. So it's not important yet. And it doesn't change too much. It's like maybe we have a perk that does X versus a perk that does Y. They're both going to be perks. They're both going to need to show somewhere. We're going to need the options for them. We can design this later. So yeah. Do we need to limit the buffs for certain adventurers? I think the answer to this is yes. We probably eventually limit buffs for certain adventurers. But it's not important at first. Could just not choose plus lifesteal on the spirit color. How does this work when you have one adventurer? We answered that. Are you disincentivized for any more adventures? No, not anymore. Is there anything else you could? Oh yeah, also add a meta perk for you are only offered battle perks for adventurers that you already have. All right, anything else you can spend your sludge on? So this is the last important question here. If there's nothing else for you to spend this on, then there's really no reason for sludge to exist as a resource that's exposed to you. Like in the game right now, the reason why we can't just auto spend your sludge is because you choose which adventure you want to put it into. So like if I want to put 10 here, now the cost of this one rises to 40, but this one is still 10. So we can't spend it because we don't know where you're going to want to spend it. It's just like going into a shop. We can't auto spend your money. We don't know what you want to spend your money on. But if all we're going to have is a buy battle perk and it costs 50 sludge, we could just auto click this button for you. There's no reason for this to ever even be present here. Yeah, I think we probably should auto spend it. There are reasons why that might not be true. We may add a perk that says you can convert sludge into gold, and then we wouldn't auto purchase this stuff for you. But that doesn't exist in the game right now. And we may add a system that lets you spend sludge on something else. What else? Or we may change this system. I guess until we've done that though, there's no real reason to think about this. So like, let's say this were to cost 100. As soon as your wisdom sludge hits 100, we just knock it down to 0. And then this now lights up and you can see this. I think the problem with that maybe is that you wouldn't know the cost of the next one. Although you would, because if you don't have enough, you would see this button would just be grayed out and say buy for 100. Okay, well, I don't think this is super important either way. Since there's nothing else to spend sludge on, we can automatically spend it for you. And just consider your choices to be deferred. This isn't important either way, though. So anything else to consider here? Like, am I shooting myself in the foot somehow with this? Your adventurers as a whole are going to level up. And you can steer it slightly. I guess we need to learn more about some like napkin math probability here. So if you're offered 3 adventurers out of 10, so any particular adventure showing up, you've got a 30% chance of seeing them, right? Yeah. That's not the part that was important though. The part that's important is like, let's say you're given 10 options and all you wanted to do is prioritize the rogue, for example. How many can you expect to have be the rogue? And I guess 3 is the answer, right? So then every adventurer is like 3/10 as powerful as you could make them if you could just outright choose. So we balance the game around that. 10 possible adventurers. So each adventurer could be considered 3/10 as powerful as you could make them if we let you force the choice. However, if we let you force the choice, then the sludge cost would go up for that specific adventurer. Which means they wouldn't really get all of your resources. Yeah, I talked about this a long time ago, like probably 8 months ago or something. But depending on how you do a skill system, you already sort of bias the player towards certain choices. So I've played a game before where in order to go up in level, it cost like leveling up a skill cost X points, and X went up by 1 each time. So it was 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, and so on. And in a game like this, imagine you've gotten a level 6 of a skill. It now costs you 7 points to go up in level. That's equivalent to getting 7 level 1 skills. So it kind of steers you pretty naturally towards spreading out your skill points because the investment is just so steep at some point. That's kind of how a lot of the perks work in the game right now. Like when you have 1,000 gold, you could buy this, or you could spend on like 6 of these other ones, maybe even twice. Because you can spend 150 gold times 6 is about 1,000. So we're naturally steering a player toward this by doing that. With this system, it's random. So you could sort of argue you're not steering the player at all because they're purely random choices. And then the player is choosing based on which of those random choices is best. Anyway, yeah, I think that's it. I think we start with this. We see how this goes. All right, let's bundle this into the design. I'll open up another tab here. And we'll go to our scratch section again. All right, design here. So lore, gold, perks, battle perks, sea adventures, leveling. So instead of explicitly leveling up, you're buying a battle perk for that specific adventure. Not anymore. So instead of explicitly leveling up, you are buying a battle perk. You're buying battle perks. For example, you may click the buy battle perk button and be offered, let's save this, battle perks are presented for 3 random adventurers, even ones you haven't hired. Rationale for this is what I wrote over here. It opens up the decision tree. Okay. And then each perk gives plus health because it's otherwise a boring choice. And 2 random other stats like lifesteal, thorns, dodge, crit, I don't know, damage mitigation, etc. Plus skill point. And then we could write this down. I can say the same. Stat scaling of the base game strongly steers you toward leveling up a single adventurer. This will let us change the scaling. Keeps all the battle perk information in the UI where you'd already expect it. Don't need to pollute the perk pool with battle perks. This greatly changes how you power up your adventurers. There are more decisions to be made. Yeah, all the rest of the stuff is fine, I guess. What else did I write down here? Oh yeah, cost an increasing amount of sludge. The sludge cost of buying a battle perk rises just like the gold cost does. I think this is what encourages you to improve your systems. Encourages you to improve farming / fishing and even battling. Yeah. Interesting. All right, you get random ones for anyone. Yep. We could limit these. We could limit ones that aren't useful. e.g. life steal for the spirit caller. It's not super important for V1. Wait, what did you say absolutely to? I've been monologuing for so long now that even though I'm glancing at chat, I'm not paying attention to what I'm saying. Oh yeah, this meta perk is pretty cool. I like this. And then there's nothing else to spend sludge on. No, there's nothing else to spend sludge on with the current design. So we could automatically spend it for you. And then in specific ideas, we write battles or adventures, maybe. Add a meta perk. Is this a meta perk? I don't know. I guess we could write it in here. Battle perks are only offered for adventures that you have already hired. How such cost encourages you to work on. Yeah. And this is as opposed to in a lot of other games, you have maybe many items or many relics or something like that, and the general cost is roughly the same, but then their marginal benefit is lower. So imagine when you have one item, your second item is massive. It's a massive boost. When you have 100 items, your 101st item is kind of meh. And in fact, at that point, maybe it doesn't even like visibly modify your build or anything. But yeah, in Skeleseller, it's going to be that hopefully each one of these feels impactful. Although I guess I don't know. Yeah, we'll have to play this out. It's very exciting. All right, anything we have not filled in here? No, I think that's it. Okay, so now back to the drawing board over here. We talked about all of this stuff, and I then got stuck because I wanted to go back to the game design, and I'm glad we did. But where did I write what I was leaning toward? So we have a separate choose battle perks tab. This would make buy perk on the town perk be obvious. For town perks and it costs gold. Yeah, I think having a separate tab still makes sense. And then for battle perks. Okay, now this gets a little bit more difficult. Yeah, this is the issue. So I still think separate tabs are fine. Okay, so note I lumped all of that into the design on the other document tab. And now we're back to UI. I still like the idea of separate tabs. Problem is that you probably want to see your adventurer's stats when picking a battle perk. We could like duplicate the UI over to the battle perk UI to prevent you from bouncing back and forth. But that's not really a V1 feature. Hey, who cares? Howdy, howdy. Yeah, so here's what I'm talking about with this thing. So in adventurers, you won't have this level up button or anything, but all your stats are over here. So like your health, your power, your fortitude, eventually whatever extended stats we add, like lifesteal, you'd see something like lifesteal : 2%. Great. Well, now you go over to some tab that says buy a battle perk. And on this tab, you're going to see something here like, in fact, let's just mock this up really fast. So you'll see something like rogue, plus 10 health, plus 2% lifesteal, plus whatever, a skill point, I don't know. And you'll see the same sort of thing with a warrior, plus X, plus Y, plus Z. So for you to evaluate one of these options for which one you want to pick now, you'd probably need to pop back over to the adventurers tab. You might have a general inclination of like, oh man, rogue, yeah, I'm definitely going for that. But yeah, sometimes you need to go back, and you can. Nothing stops you from doing that. But we should probably present this in a nice way so that you can see it all there. And I'm just not totally sure how we'll do that, but we can figure that out later. Is that Turbo Dave? Hey, Turbo Dave. How's it going? Think about you every so often for just random things. Tiny house, the picture of your driver's license you showed me. It's your boy. Yeah, welcome back. How have you been? Haven't seen you in months. Yeah, so I think we make separate tabs for this. Battle perks should go into a new tab as a, yeah, add a buy perk button, which costs sludge. Generate perks for adventurers regardless of whether you have them. Make sure we apply any effects you've unlocked to the adventurer once you've gotten them. This means we can't purely store stats in adventurer components. Hey, Core. We did something where there's an overlay of a bar graph like they do in other games, which shows you what the upgrade will do on what you already have, like a little green bar. Yeah, we could do that. I think we probably need to do something along these lines. And that's more the concern, which is it's going to take some development time. It shouldn't be too hard to do, I think. Social security card next. It's been good. Just moved into a townhouse. Did you ever do that garage project? Vaguely remember you were talking about doing something. Yeah, I did. Yeah. And it's been going well. But yeah, congrats on the townhouse. Nice, nice, nice. What was I gonna say? I don't recall. I think I was splitting context again here. Got hit with an ad. Short answer, I did. There. All right, not storing these in an adventurer component is going to be annoying because it means we need other storage for stuff that will get applied to the adventurer. There's got to be like battle perks save data. Battle perks save data, which keeps track of stats per adventurer class. I don't like that idea. But anyway, allow choosing perks by reusing the UI we already made. And then actually modify the corresponding data store. Yeah, and then show these. Do I already have this here somewhere? No, show these extended stats in the adventurers tab. All right. So yeah, what do you do when you've chosen the perk? I guess you should still see buy perk there. That's fine. Replace level up button with buy battle perk. Oh yeah, just don't even show the level up button. Don't show the level up button anymore. Just either go to, or like choose battle perk or buy battle perk. Yeah, let's just leave it at that. Battle perks chooser. What? What is this? It's not even called chooser. What was it supposed to be? Hey, helpless hero. How's the day going? It's going really well. Despite me whatting at this thing. Yeah, open this. What's going on? Battle perks chooser. What did I end up calling this? Town perks chooser? I think it was town perks choice tracker. What did I call this thing? Perk choice tracker. There it is. Oh, I was searching for town perks tracker, I think. It's called town perk choice tracker. So I think this is choice tracker. This is... Yeah. Buy perk. Yeah, this is fine. Wait, let me just make sure. Increase adventurer level based on number of perks you've unlocked. That I kind of like. I think that's nice. Just make sure it doesn't confer stats. Okay. Okay. So what have I done so far? Nothing? Please say nothing. Yeah, nothing. I just made the farm. That's fine. Oh, and what time is it? It's 11:42. All right, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good because we've answered some tough questions and I've got more clarity on how we're going to proceed. I have the age-old question of what in the world am I doing for lunch? Yeah, so Matt, I wasn't going to say this. This is supposed to be private information, but I wasn't going to make Turbo Dave feel bad on stream. But yeah, I guess it's not private information anymore. No, it's okay. Don't worry about it. Let me think about this. I was talking about lunch before that. Right. So I'll probably end up taking a real break, but I got to figure out the food. I'll let you leak one thing for my driver's license. No, I'm not going to do that. I won't sink to your level. Whoops. The thing is, I'm not like super hungry right now. It's probably going to hit me in like 20 or 30 minutes. And it'll probably take me that long to make some food. But, should I start this? Will this afternoon be enough time to do all of this stuff? It probably will be. I don't know. No, it's okay. Can you ask Copilot what lunch you should get? Well, so I have... Oh, I ate that yesterday. I had some pasta sauce, and now it's only in the freezer. Hang on, let me do a mental inventory of what I could eat today, because this is gonna determine whether or not I actually take a proper lunch break. I probably will. Yeah, I'll figure something out. So then I don't think it's worth starting this now. But let me finish organizing some of this stuff then. So there's choose perks over here. This is where town perks are going to be, I guess. Maybe it should just be called unlock town perk and there should be unlock battle perk. Won't be able to fit all this stuff. That makes some gravy now. Rename the existing tab to unlock battle perks. Could we use one tab for both of these? I wanted to have both options showing at the same time, so I guess we would need different tabs. I'm not sure what to call this. It says choose perks, which is it's either buying or choosing. It depends on what state you're in. Because if you're in the choosing state, when you come back here, you're still in the choosing state. So, but we already have a tab for perks. I don't know. Subtab question mark? So we could do subtabs. But yeah, I don't know. What's the name? It's going to be called challenge mode. I think to indicate clearly that it is not intended to be a super casual mode necessarily and that you can lose. Because originally I was thinking of calling it chaos mode, but I think challenge mode is more indicative of what it does. And I think setting expectations is really important. Challenge mode perks. Well, the thing is we have like the town perks, then we have the battle perks. They're all challenge mode perks. But the other question is, and then, yeah, so I guess we have like unlock town perks, unlock battle perks, and like see existing perks. Is there a reason to hide the available choices until you've chosen to pay? Or could choosing just be paying for one of the available choices? Could choosing just be paying for one of the available choices? I could see a world where battle perks could be shown ahead of time, but the town perks couldn't be because you spend gold on many different things. So to know what your options are ahead of time and then choose not to fall. No, that wouldn't make any sense, would it? Yeah. To see them ahead of time and then choose to not spend money on them might be a bad thing for the game. Although even that I'm not sure about now that I think about it. They are just purchases. I hadn't considered that. Chaos mode is more a description of my life. Look more like town perks. Yeah. What I'm saying is these are town perks. So if I were to just name this stuff now kind of stupidly, it would be choose town perks. There'd be a perks tab, view the existing ones, and then there'd be one for choose battle perks. So that's what I would call this, but this isn't really exactly choose, it's more like buy. But yeah, I think what Cube Miser said, I think could be potentially good here. We could show you the perks ahead of time and only charge you when you purchase them. That would also fix that issue where I said the thing about auto spending sludge. The one difference here is this is a game design change. It's a subtle one, but it means that you can now see what will be unlocked before you spent anything. For the town, this might matter because there are prerequisites for this stuff. So for example, you can't see, farm perk 1 until you have the farm. So if we show you 3 perks before you have the farm, then you know that your first perk can never be the farm perk. So I don't think we can do that for the town. We could do it for battle perks, but I guess it doesn't help me name the UI any better. Oh, actually, I should probably write that down. Where is it? Where did I write it? Oh yeah, in the design. All I know is I wrote the word could, but it shows up 130 times. Oh, where is the one that I want? Here it is. Even better, we could just show you the could we? Yeah, we could just show you the 3 perk options you're offered and change choose to buy for X sludge. However, meta perks can change the perks offered. So even that may not be a good idea. Perks with a Q. We do see ahead on the normal perks and upgrades for Town Hall and Adventure class perks and upgrades. Yeah, but that's because you're choosing all of those things. In challenge mode, the game is choosing for you, and then it's presenting a small pool to you, then you pick from. So yeah, main game mode, you need to be able to see all these so you can make an informed decision about what you're buying. Yeah, we can't do that in challenge mode. Yeah, so this is what I'm leaning toward at least. Just perks, choose town perks, and choose battle perks. So I guess let's just do that for now. We can move them. We can put them in sub tabs later. I think that should be fine. So where is the to-do item for this? Yeah, rename the existing tab to unlock town perks. Add a unlock battle perks tab. My brain didn't connect the challenge mode. Oh no worries. Yeah. By the way, for those who hadn't seen challenge mode, so this is like a roguelikefication of Skeleseller. So instead of seeing a sign to build like the warehouse, there is no sign here now. You would instead, this is not exactly how this would work, but you'd see something like build warehouse versus build farm versus build enchanter. And you're like, oh, cool. I got the choice I wanted. So I'll choose the warehouse. And you pick that and it gets built. So almost everything you do is now going to be presented as a small random pool of options, and it'll change how you approach the game. And you will be given a money goal. So right now we're at 9,900. It might be something like collect 100,000 gold over the course of 40 minutes. And you will have to figure out how to do that. So maybe you end up getting lots of adventurers and sending them to the same place, but you can't progress very deep into the map. Maybe you get a few adventurers, you progress deeply. Maybe you're really cranking out crops on the farm and you can level them up a lot, or you've gotten the tavern and you're getting a ton of workers to handle a bunch of different items. So I think it'll be interesting. I don't know for sure how balanced it's going to be, but we'll figure that out. Generate perks regardless of whether you have them after choosing them. So have some logic for generating them. Maybe start with stuff like skill points, stats, life, power, fortitude. Yeah, so stats to do at first, just to keep this simple. Let's really try to keep this simple. So maybe let's say life, steal, and thorns, and that's it. Maybe the ones we already have, power, fortitude. I guess anything we already have. Yeah, just look through all the buffs. Whatever we can add easily. In fact, do we even have a thorns buff in the game? No. Do we have the concept? We have counterattack. I guess that's pretty close. Yeah, this right here. To make this into a thorns buff would be pretty simple, because this will counter would just be return true. And right now it's a % chance. But yeah, we could just say no matter what, delete this basically, and just always deal damage whenever we take damage. Yeah, it should be pretty simple to add. I think we can do that. So stats to do at first to keep this simple. Anything we already have a what is it called? A buff for in the code base, and thorns, which is just counterattack with 100% chance. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Oh, and then skill points. Also skill points. Figure that out. A little bit of basic stats at random. That way it's sort of like you're leveling up. Yeah, we had this idea already. And maybe that's slightly better to give a random basic stat. I'll write that down as a playtest question. I think it's a good thing. Okay, hang on one second. Come on, cat. Come on. You want to come up? It's going to get lunch soon anyway. Play tester questions. Battle perks. Should battle perks offer any basic stat? Hi. Hi, Abby. Oh, you want me to open that? Here you go, cat. Good cat, so. Yeah. Come on. Or not. That's fine. Okay. Yeah. Come over. Okay. Good girl. What a good cat. That cat has so many colors on it. Yes, she does. You wanna... Okay. Good cat. All right. Should they offer any basic stat? Rather than just health? Yeah. You can't see her lick my hand right now, but you can see her move my hand every time she licks it. All right, go back to the to-do here. Okay, yeah. I think this is looking good. In challenge mode? Yeah, I think it's looking good. All right, so I'll go figure out lunch. Let's fill out the journal really fast too. can never tell if that script runs. It takes so long for some reason. All it's doing is adding a row and adding the date. Yes, good cat. Okay, so finished the town perk choice. Stuff and started working on battle perks, which I had to spend some time redesigning. All right. Wow. Cat, what are you doing? You trying to kill me? What? Like attacking my arm. Thankfully, she didn't do any damage. Okay, Abby, what has gotten into you? She's like offended that my arm is trying to touch a keyboard and not her. Okay, cat. I wonder, is it showing on the thumbnail in the category? Where am I? No, yeah, she kind of is. All right, she got off my lap, thankfully. I'm gonna go get lunch. I'll be back in about an hour, and we'll just pick up where we left off. So thank you all for watching so far. I will see you in a bit. Have a good rest of your day.